Hopefully they can learn a bit from what I've done over my career. You know, and there's a lot of rewards out there for them.
Alex Ray's route south has been a little less cluttered. Signed from Falkirk, he made his debut in front of London's most critical fans 5 years ago, proved a hit and has been the local hero ever since.
Ray is sizing short and a great start for Millwall. Alex Ray just loves this ground.
We're comparing you with Ray Houghton. I know you're both from Glasgow, but are there any other comparisons to draw?
No, I don't think so. I think Ray's been down here for a long while. I think we're quite similar in stature, like get forward and score goals.
In a turn, set up, that's a fine goal from Alex Ray.
Ray's a man of few words for the media. He does his talking on the pitch, and that suits his manager.
He can make things happen. You know, he's got that bit of talent, for want of a better word. He can conjure a goal out of nothing, that pass out of nothing, and he's a special player for us when he's firing. And fortunately, from the start of the season up until now, he's been playing very well. They're both sort of infectious characters on the pitch. Both work very hard. But it's the little bit of extra something that they bring to the team, a bit of flair. They can just change the course of a game. A game can be going nowhere, and the two of them have got that bit of special something to win a game for them.
Alex Ray and Ray Houghton, two Glaswegians, and they'll be going eyeball to eyeball in what, just under 10 minutes' time. Mentioned some of the players that Palace have produced through that terrific youth policy. One of them is Vince Hilaire, and he's talking now to Matt.
Indeed, Jim, when they say players grace the Selhurst Park pitch, they don't come much better or more graceful than this man, Vince Hilaire. You're a hero to these Palace fans, but they may not know what you're up to at the moment.
Well, I'm living down in Portsmouth. I've just finished running a club with Billy Gilbert, a football club that is, not nightclub. So I'm a bit of a loose end, but I've got together with the hierarchy here at the club, and hopefully I'll be doing some work on the marketing side, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
Well, a return to Palace is good news for any Palace fan. What about the match today? I mean, I suppose you're going for a Palace win.
Well, yeah, funnily enough, I've seen more this season of Millwall than I have of Crystal Palace, and they're a useful outfit, but with the signings Crystal Palace have made, I'm sure they'll be looking to give a good account of themselves, and I'm hoping for a Palace win, yeah, obviously.
OK, Vince, thanks a lot for joining us, and enjoy the game. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Matt. The ground is filling up nicely. It's a beautiful afternoon for football, and the action is just around the corner. The Eagles of Crystal Palace against the Lions of Millwall.
These tensions are a bit loose. Bit of sticky tape should do it. That's better.
Yellow Pages.
Whoa! Watch that! Coming through! Pull over, hold on! Oh, good job, I'm fully comp.
Yellow Pages, supporters of the Sunday match.
Crystal Palace against Millwall is the live match this afternoon on the Sunday match. We're at Selhurst Park, a beautiful autumnal afternoon. Let's join our commentary team. It's George Graham sitting alongside Brian Moore. Good afternoon, Brian.
Good afternoon, Jim. Thank you very much indeed. A beautiful afternoon here for everybody, young and old alike. Let me just give you the two teams then, starting with Crystal Palace, who today will favour a defensive formation that accommodates three centre-backs, with the former Millwall youngster Andy Roberts as a sweeper alongside Richard Shaw and Chris Coleman. The full-backs are going to be asked to push on in attack and support Ray Houghton and company in the midfield, and that relatively new striking partnership of Dougie Freedman, formerly with Barnet, and Gareth Taylor of Bristol Rovers up front. Let's take a check on Millwall. Remember, unbeaten away from home this season, but they now lose the excellent young fullback Ben Thatcher, first of a 3-game suspension for Ben. Jason Van Vleut drops into that position, and Alex Ray, as we've said, against Ray Houghton, a crucial midfield battle. Millwall then with three up front, Uwe Fuchs, the German, Chris Malkin and Dave Savage. Arrest today, incidentally, for that very fine young player, Scott Taylor. The referee today is David Orr from Ivor in Buckinghamshire. incentive for Andy Roberts today. Not only is he playing sweeper, this is a new formation. Palace haven't played that before, but of course came here in the summer from Millwall. He was a great favourite amongst the Millwall fans, now against his old team. Going to be Millwall then, in the change strip of green and white. Kick-off. So here we go again. Tennessee Georgia in red and blue. Richard Shaw with a header straight away. Jason Van Blurk, who's filling in for Ben Thatcher, although Van Blurk is a fullback by nature. He's been playing more or less left-sided midfield for Millwall, a man who was born in Sydney. From the Dutch side, Go Ahead Eagles, with this throw for Millwall. Up to Fuchs, Coleman, free kick to Millwall. Foul by Chris Coleman. So much at stake here. A Millwall victory, remember, takes them into second place, just behind Leicester City. Same points as the leaders. There's a shot from Alex Ray, no problem though. For Nigel Martin, here's Dean Gordon. An offside flag up against Dougie Friedman on the far side. Let's remember, just 5 off the bottom. Needing a victory actually in this sort of game to give their season a kick-start. Up goes Roger. This is Witter, who began his career at Selhurst Park. Coleman backpedalling. Nigel Martin. Witter underneath this one. So a throw to Crystal Palace. Dean Gordon with it. Gordon's gone into the middle. That's a good long throw, and Keller safely gathering it. The throw out, sending Bobby Bowery, a former Palace player, of course. Anything caught your eye this early, George?
I think, Brian, when you sort of change tactics and you play with a sweeper for the first time, it usually takes you a good 20 minutes to half an hour for the boys to sort of settle down.
Well, there's Bowery getting the better of Roberts there. Now, what sort of cross can he put in? Malkin's on the end of it! And Millwall go ahead. A terrific strike. Bobby Bowery had so much to do with it, but it's Chris Malkin who's nodded the visitors into this early lead. Good cross, George, and a fine header.
Yeah, Bowery broke very well down the left flank, and tremendous cross, and Malkin left his marker, but it was a tremendous header right in the corner. Malkin didn't have a chance.
Taylor. Here's Bowery again. They're really buzzing now, Malkin. His first goal in his last 7 games, and strikers do get a bit worried if the goals don't keep rolling along. Well, that's something that Malkin's put behind him now.
Brian, I think that's the last thing that Crystal Palace want to be happen. As I said earlier, they're just sort of starting a new system, and within 5 minutes, even a couple of minutes, and that with a goal down, probably the last thing they want to be happen.
And the system was caught out of it, wasn't it?
It was a little bit, but they've just got to calm down again. Don't lose a belief in what they're trying to work at, especially at the training ground. And just hopefully sort of let things calm down and sort of get on with their own game.
again with the header. And Witter. Roberts this time taking no chances. Roberts, Houghton, Edworthy, bought in the summer from Plymouth Argyle, Friedman, Shaw, Roberts again. He's a good passer of the ball, Roberts, releasing Hopkin here, Taylor's in the middle, and it was well cut out by the Millwall defence. Gordon's come up on the far side, and in the end it was the Millwall number 10 Chris Malkin putting it away for the corner. Which Houghton will take. Coleman's up and Roberts up. Taylor, who can be quite powerful in the air at the near post. A little flick on there towards Coleman, and a good save by Casey Keller.
Yeah, very good set piece, Brian. Near post flick on there. And a good save by the keeper.
Always hard to defend against. I think Taylor is going to be very useful in the air for Palace. Shaw getting up well, no foul. Van Blurk towards Uwe Fuchs. And now Shaw. Back to Friedman, back to Shaw. Played on a good ball by him. This is Hopkin. One of the promising little runs down this right-hand side early on, George, for Palace.
Well, I think after giving the goal away, they've actually strung a couple of very good passing movements together, and they've done quite well.
It's Simon Rogers, got a good left foot on him, delivering this corner. Van Blurk got it away towards Savage. Gordon. They scored powerfully from long range at Port Vale last week. That was way off the target. Goal kick already taken. Ricky Newman, another former Palace man. Bowery battling there with Houghton. Need a lot of organising ability from Houghton in the midfield now. Van Blurk. And a throw to Crystal Palace.
This is really a dream start for Millwall, and I would expect them now to sort of just get their passing game together, try to keep possession and try to stick this sting out of a Palace side, which obviously we want to get back into the game as quickly as possible.
One of 3 Palace players on the list still. Coleman and Gordon are the others, which in itself has an unsettling effect on a club, doesn't it?
You know, especially having been relegated last season, and there's a lot of unrest, and they're trying to build a new side, and I think the fans have got to be patient with them.
Bowery again, and now Alex Ray. Once again Bowery. Ricky Newman. Dave Savage knocking it back. No foul. Gordon comes away with it. Finds Shaw. Oh, great confidence there from Tony Witter. Hopkin once with Chelsea. Here's Edworthy. Taking inside again for Dougie Freedman. And that's a goal kick.
I've actually seen Millwall twice this year, Brian, and they've impressed me very much. They've kept clean sheets both against Everton and Watford. And they're very well organised at the back with my old one of my old players, Keith Stephen, marshalling the back four and organising them superbly.
Malkin's header again, this time Coleman for Gordon. Gordon still in play. Coleman getting it away with some length up towards Taylor, and now to Freedman. A nice little touch by him. Tries to get it back again to the central attacker there, Freedman. Got a foul and a free kick to Millwall. On loan to Middlesbrough last season, played for a number of German clubs including Hamburg and Stuttgart and Cologne, but he hasn't scored since his arrival at Millwall. Taylor, shot charged down by Ray, it falls for Dave Savage. So Millwall streaming forward again. Malkin now for Ray. This time picking up Van Blurk. Doyle finding Barry. Newman. Good passing here from Millwall, but in the end, Fuchs couldn't quite get to it.
I think that was just a bit of an example of what I was saying earlier about the passing game, Millwall, and they look very, very good. Probably the only thing they need now is just a little bit of end product in the attacking third, but they are a very good quality side.
Van Blurk does well, but Shaw is able to get it back to his goalkeeper. Witter. Up goes Roger. Barry to Malkin. Newman to Barry. Ray. As George was saying, it's good, confident passing there from Millwall. Simple but very effective. And some passing now that brings Van Blurk into it down the left-hand side. Millwall playing it around well and leading by a goal to nil. Chris Malkin the scorer. And they get a corner. Taken by Dave Savage. Barry, oh, he's left him too much to do there. But Millwall will get a throw. Unbeaten in their travels away from the new den, and that includes a fabulous victory in the Coca-Cola Cup at Everton. Van Blurk. Roger knocking it back. Edworthy hitting it forward. Witter. And Ricky Newman knocking that one away. They met in the league. It was the season before last when Palace were on their way up to the Premiership. Palace won here in a game in April by a goal to nil when Chris Armstrong was the scorer. 23,000 in Selhurst Park that day. Not quite as many today, but a good atmosphere and a good crowd. Hopkins. Edworthy making the break for Palace. Hopkins will pick it up. Can Ray Houghton try something? I don't know whether he was trying a shot or a cross towards Taylor. In fact, Taylor just kept it in. But Barry's there. He seems to be everywhere at the moment, Bobby Barry. He's relishing this return to Selhurst Park. Malkin is injured. New stand at Selhurst Park, pretty well full, and actually if you look around the crowds this weekend in the Ensley League, don't knock it. There were 16,000 at Birmingham and at Huddersfield and at West Bromwich Albion yesterday. Charlton had an excellent 13,000 crowd at their game against Norwich. 12,000 in Division 2 at Swindon. People are coming out to watch and enjoy Ensley League football, there's no doubt about it. In the meantime, it's Fuchs for Millwall. Newman running out of pitch there. Deep cross there. Taylor was arriving late. Millwall defending well. To Casey Keller. Up goes Shaw. Leg is up. Let's go down to the touchline. Let's have a word with Matthew Lorenzo about Millwall's reaction to their excellent start.
Well, the Millwall manager, Brian, Mick McCarthy, is a fairly impassive character at the best of times. He was impassive before the goal. He's impassive now, but when it was scored, you'd think it was his header that had given them the lead. Obviously, they're delighted with that lead, but McCarthy back to that dour exterior, and he's got his substitutes running up and down this touchline, doing more work than some of his on-field players.
Certainly doing plenty on the field, Matthew. Thanks very much indeed. Well, it was an excellent goal. It was beautifully worked. Bobby Barry's part in it was really important, and Malkin, who's always been an excellent header of a ball, met it to perfection at the far post, George.
Yeah, it was a tremendous header, actually, because he doesn't usually actually score many goals away from home.
That's right. That's right.
So,
in his days at Tranmere.
So he must be absolutely delighted with that start for him.
Barry again. Van Blurk. Oops. knocked away by Coleman. Well taken out though. Not once but twice by Keith Stevens, but here's Ray Houghton. Cross in from Edworthy. Newman there for Millwall. Houghton again. This is Roger. Gordon. He's certainly working hard to try and get back into this game now. Gordon's cross towards Friedman, who's not the biggest of men, but he got up well there. Coleman, or rather Shaw, keeping it going. And a foul on Richard Shaw. So Shaw with the free kick for Crystal Palace. Towards Gareth Taylor, knocked down by him, easy for Keller.
I think because of the system Palace is playing with 3 at the back, it means they've got an extra player in the centre of midfield, and somebody like Ray Houghton has got to try, if he's going to be the spare player, he's got to try to get as much involved and get as much of the ball so you can then dictate the play in the middle of the park. But they've recovered very well, Palace, and they're slowly coming in. They're playing with a lot of fire in their bellies, and as I said, it is difficult to sort of like start a new system, especially in a local derby.
Barry's pass held up by Coleman. Here's Roger, leaving it for Houghton. Spotted the possibility of a long ball there because he'd seen the run of Hopkin, and they might pick up Hopkin here. The flag has stayed down. Cross it in, and it was a good one, and it was headed away well by Witter. And now the flag has gone up for the ball, not for an offside. This is what Millwall were thinking, but for a throw to Crystal Palace. Houghton with it. Let's get on with it, he says. Edworthy. Ray Houghton again. Just dinking the ball in nicely to Friedman. Again, cross charge down, claimed a handball, not given. Alex Ray then playing it wide for Malkin. Fuchs has gone up ahead of him. Savage is through the middle as well. But Roberts taking no chances. Newman. Barry. Newman again for Millwall. Slinging a really good cross there towards Uwe Fuchs. Martin's throw out, releasing Edworthy. Barry. Kick to Palace. Andy Roberts with it. Taylor first to emerge. The flick on, but Keith Stevens getting it clear for the moment from Millwall. A good challenge go by Van Blerk at the expense of a corner. Fuchs coming back to help defend. Simon Roger will take the corner. Dean Gordon. A little too deep. And the ball just looping out of play, the goalkeeper. Premiership game being played at the moment. Everton leading Spurs up at Goodison Park by a goal to nil. Graham Stewart the scorer. good little ball there, and a good run across to the far side by Doyle to take up that position. He was tracked well, though, by Ray Houghton. It's a goal. Or is it a throw? No, it's a throw. At the moment looking for so much, as you say, in the midfield from Ray Houghton, whereas the Millwall midfield, not only Alex Ray, who's got such class about him, but Barry's energy is really quite effective as well this afternoon.
Yeah, I think actually, as I say, the goal in the first few minutes really, it was great for Millwall, and obviously a bit of a blow for Crystal Palace. But actually the game settled down now quite well, and the Palace have got the system organised a little bit better. The only thing they probably need now is just a little bit of finish to their approach play now.
Millwall's throw. That's Ricky Newman with it. Sit back to Witter. Given away. Houghton. Van Vleck. Oh, very quickly spotted though by Edworthy. Here's a good break on now for Crystal Palace. Can he turn Stevens? He's got support in there as well, but the shot towards the near post was always well covered by Keller. It was Friedman coming in on the other side who might have been a better option for him. Houghton again, but as George is saying, it's warming up a little bit, and Palace are coming more into the game now. Up goes Taylor. This is a lot easier for the American goalkeeper.
Well, that was a great break by Edworthy there, and I think if they can get that a lot into the play, also with Gordon down the left side, you know, I think they've got some good opportunities there.
In the meantime, up goes Coleman. 2 against 1, but he wins. Newman, a little touch to Barry. Knocked back again to Alex Ray. Barry found a yard for himself here and finds Van Vleck. Malkin. Barry again. And back by Ray Houghton to Nigel Martin. Stevens locking arms with Friedman there, but got his head to it. Taylor, Friedman, back by Newman. Shaw to Edworthy. Looking it wide for Dougie Friedman. Taylor's offside. Let's see what the Crystal Palace reaction to the opening stages are.
Well, in direct contrast to the Millwall bench, it's all shouting, it's all go on the Crystal Palace bench. Of course, they've got 2 coaches there to Millwall's 1, and they're both going for it at this moment. Dean Gordon seems to be the man who's getting most of the shouting, not all of it complimentary. And what's remarkable is that when it goes wrong, Ray Lewington's face mirrors perfectly that of Steve Coppell, who's a few rows behind him in the director's box.
Thank you, Matthew. It's a new regime at Palace. Steve Coppell is the technical director. Ray Lewington and Peter Nicholas are the joint first-team coaches. It's a free kick for Palace. Ray Houghton with it. Andy Roberts with a header. And a fist away by Keller. Knocked in again by Edworthy. Another test for Keller. No, the flag has gone up for an offside. And a free kick to the visitors. Good fist away by the keeper.
Yes, it's one of the features of the Millwall back four. I mean, they don't get sucked in on top of the goalkeeper. They're very well organised, and I think that's really good coaching from Mick McCarthy and Ian Evans of Millwall. Very well organised. You can see why they keep a lot of clean sheets at the back.
Well, they have some more defending here. Keith Stevens underneath it, though. His header reaches Alex Ray. Malkin on the far side, back for Newman. Barry. Played in early too, but Martin there. It was Newman who'd come up and had made the cross, and Edworthy now takes it up for Crystal Palace. Roger. Houghton. Chip there towards Hopkin, touched on by him.
I'm very impressed with Bobby Bowie in the middle of the field for Millwall, Brian. They're outnumbered, they're 3-2, but he's actually been outstanding for Millwall up to now.
Yes. You would have seen him, obviously, as I did when he was a Palace youngster as well, and there was nothing of it. Let's have a look at this first. Here's Taylor. Hopkin. He's whacked a good cross in there, flicked away. Dean Gordon now with a great goal! 1-1. He scored last week, the winner at Port Vale. He's banged in an absolutely unstoppable one here against Millwall today. The cross by Hopkin, a little flick on, and suddenly in all the space in the world, and he doesn't stop to wait to think about it. An instinctive bang into the back of the net. George Graham?
Well, what a finish. I mean, that was real Premier League finish in that. That was tremendous stuff. A good break by Hopkin down the right. Nice little flick on the near post by, I think it was Friedman. And there was Gordon. Tremendous finish.
And now Friedman chasing again. Can he get the better of Stevens? No, he can't. Wily old rhino Keith Stevens chose his moment. Finds Ray, gets it back again. I suppose he's about the only player in the Millwall side who was there during your time as a manager, wasn't he, Keith Stevens?
Well, I think...
well, he's been there forever.
Yeah, he definitely is, but he's a very big influence in the back four at Millwall. He organises them all, pushes up, plays the offside, and as I say, the back four are excellent. But I think they've got their hands work cut out today, Brian. They've got a lot of work on their hands.
Coleman. Taylor onside, the flag has stayed down. Tries something from long range. He gets a corner for Millwall. Jason Van Blerk will take it. Tony Witter's up in the 6-yard area. Alex Ray is on the edge of the box. Fuchs, another 6-footer in there, curling in. And it's gone in! Well, Fuchs, I think, will claim it. But we need to have a very good close look at that. But it's a goal that's put Millwall 2-1 up. Here's the corner.
Yeah, I'm afraid Martin will be a bit disappointed himself. He did seem to get trapped in there, right in the middle of a lot of players. His reach didn't sort of give him a big advantage.
But here's Gordon again on the edge of the box. Stevens gets it away. It was certainly a mucky goal, and Uwe Fuchs came away claiming it. It'll be his first for Millwall. Palace are behind again after working so hard to get on level terms. Firecracker on the field, which bit of a stir as far as Richard Shaw was concerned.
Palace must be so disappointed. They've really battled their way back after a poor start. Got the equaliser, looking nice and comfortable, and then they give away such a soft goal. But as I say, they were really disappointed defensively with that goal.
Turn November the 5th, not far away. Coleman with a header. Houghton. Edworthy. And Stevens gets it clear. I tell you what, George, looking so hard at that goal, I was trying to work out who had scored it, without really seeing whose fault it was that had gone in. And was it a goalkeeping error?
Well, I think the goalkeeper got trapped. I mean, once he gets trapped like that, then he's got to come over two or three players to get the ball. I'm sure they'd be very, very disappointed. The goalkeeper, maybe one or two defenders, but especially with them doing so well coming back into the game.
Here's Houghton.
I think Palace actually can get a lot of joy down this right flank. This young boy Edworthy, he's getting a lot of space. He's given Millwall a lot of problems, and this is where the goal came from. And I think a bit more could come from it.
Well, here's Friedman, but Alex Ray, a last-ditch intervention by him, concedes the corner. Which again will be taken by Simon Roger. David Hopkin at the near post. Friedman's in there, Taylor's in there, Coleman's come up from the back. But it was Van Blok with a header. Houghton again. Roberts. Roger. Simon Roger, in fact, who missed just about the whole of last season with a serious back injury. Quite a nasty operation on it, serious one. And at times it was likely that his career was in danger, but he's got a good attitude and he's useful down that left side of midfield, got a good left foot on him. It's good to see him back in action again. Newman. All given away badly. And can Palace make the most of it? Hopkin. Almost came through to Ray Houghton, who'd suddenly found enough energy to get up into that just outside the 6-yard area.
Well, another good break down the Palace right flank again, and I think they've got to keep bringing the ball out this way. They've got to come out this side of the pitch, and as I said, they're creating lots of problems for the ball on the Millwall left side of it.
That's a good long throw as well. Taylor on the end of it, and on the end of it again, trying to find Dean Gordon. But Dave Savage can bring it away. Hits it long, but there are 3 Palace players there. The sweeper, Andy Roberts, getting it down this right-hand side again. Edworthy, Roberts. Coleman. Dougie Friedman. Little chip by him towards Houghton. Free kick against Uwe Fuchs. Taylor, knocked down for Friedman, knocked wide this time for Edworthy. Towards the last 5 minutes, a very good first half actually, with some good attacking football from both sides, some good passing from both sides. And Millwall leading by 2-1. Taylor on the far side, goal kick. It's not been bad stuff, has it?
It's been a very, very good game. As I said, very difficult for Palace, as I said, to change the system. They got cut out in the first few minutes, but after that, they've come right back into the game. It's been very exciting. We've seen 3 goals, and I think there's more goals in the game.
Yes, well, we've just seen the second goal again. I wouldn't mind, if possible, having a look at that again sometime, just so we can, from that particular angle, it might just tell us who exactly has scored. Here's Friedman. Edworthy's down injured, and I think the referee might want to stop that fairly quickly. He's trying to get up again, but the ball's been banged away by Ricky Newman. Have a look, George, shall we, at the second Millwall goal in a moment. Here's Coleman. Now Hopkin, Edworthy, and now Barry. Coleman, Gordon, bringing Edworthy into it. Friedman. Friedman again. Hopkins header, goal kick. George, let's have a look then at that, the second Millwall goal. It came in from the corner.
Yeah, I'd be very disappointed in that. I mean, we've got four Crystal Palace players in front of the ball, with 2 Millwall players behind, jumping with the goalkeeper. I think he should have been protected better, but again, I think the goalkeeper got trapped in behind the 2 Millwall players. Bad goal to give away, unfortunately.
Some dainty footwork there from Dave Savage. Jason Van Blurk. I forget if Millwall can finish as winners here. They go into second place behind Leicester, same number of points. People say there are no outstanding sides in the Ensley First Division this year, and that no result really is a surprise. 1 or 2 are beginning to show themselves a little bit, though. I mean, I quite like the look of Sunderland, actually. I've seen them a couple of times. Norwich obviously have got a fair bit saying to go for themselves, and Charlton also, I think. Millwall certainly.
Well, this has been a very good game for by both two sides playing a passing game, and I've been very impressed with the Millwall side as normal, because I've seen them twice, but it's the first time I've seen Palace, and they're trying to play the ball around.
Yes, indeed.
I'm afraid in that one, I think Witter will always be much quicker.
Yes. Gordon.
They really must come out on this right side. He's so free all the time, Edworthy, and he's creating them problems, because one of the centre forwards, Fuchs from Millwall, has got to come back with him. And this is where the danger I can see for Crystal Palace down this right side.
There's Andy Roberts. Here's Edworthy. Down this right-hand side again. Exactly as George Graham was saying. That time Van Blurk got back. And they've also been good where Hopkins has linked up so well with Edworthy down that right-hand side. That's when they've also looked very dangerous.
If they can actually pull the 2 centre-backs of Millwall out to the flank positions, they don't really want to be pulled out there, Stevens and Witter. I think that'd be ideal for Palace. But Millwall's coping very well, and it's a fascinating game up to now.
Good, and it's a corner which Simon Rogers again going to take for Crystal Palace. Coming towards half-time now, a deeper one this time. Taylor gets on the end of it, but it was Barry who released it now for Savage, and Barry is making great support run now for Dave Savage. He's gone outside him, and maybe it needed to pass just a little quicker than that, but still it's Millwall in possession still with Malkin. Played in again to Fuchs, a nice little touch by him, and Doyle's effort was charged down with an excellent piece of defending by Dean Gordon.
Yeah, again, a good break by Millwall. Could have been delivered a bit quicker, by Savage, but they were patient, and they finally got a good layoff, and was unfortunate. It was a very good challenge. Unfortunately, not to get a shot in.
Goes Witter, wins it comfortably in the air. Big Uwe Fuchs. Just keep it in play. Pete Stevens. Englert. Doyle. Little touch there which didn't quite reach Van Blurk from Ray, and so it's Hopkins setting off in pursuit again. And the cross that Taylor couldn't quite get on the end of. Malkin just finding Ricky Newman. A long ball cleared by him. Millwall's throw. Time added on at the end of 45 minutes. There goes the half-time whistle. A good first half for us all, actually. An even better one for Millwall, who went ahead with the goal right at the start from Chris Malkin. And then Palace pulling that one back with a fantastic shot from Dean Borton. And then the muddled one, but a valuable one for all that, with Uwe Fuchs just forcing it across the line to give Millwall a 2-1 lead at half-time.
Thank you very much indeed, Brian, and our thanks to George Graham as well. Terrific first half we've had here at Selhurst Park, and still a lot of twists and turns this one could take. After the break, I'll be analysing some of the key moments with George Graham. Half-time, though, it's Millwall got their noses in front, 2-1.
They've seen me. Must get a bigger fence. This grass needs cutting and all.
Yellow Pages. Right, butcher shop across the road. You've had a look. Concentrate. How many chickens hanging up in the window? Eh? Yellow Pages, supporters of the Sunday match.
And the Sunday match is live from Selhurst Park this afternoon. We've seen a terrific first half as well. Millwall leading Crystal Palace by 2-1. Delighted to have George Graham with us this afternoon. George still alongside Brian Moore, high above those Millwall stands there, George. What about the new formation, first of all, that Palace played? I mean, they were suckered early on, weren't they, I suppose?
Yeah, never mind about the new formation, Brian. Am I going to get actually danger money for sitting up here? Right, yeah, I think really Palace, they started with new sweeper system, and it unfortunately they went a goal down in the first few minutes, and that must have sort of given them some problems and some worries. But I thought they settled down very well after that, and they come back into the game and deserved to got the equaliser. But to give a bad goal away direct from a corner kick, they must be very disappointed. But saying that, Millwall, I've seen them a few times this season. They've played a very strict 4-4-2. But today they've had to bring in the wide player, Doyle, into midfield to counteract the spare player in there. And that's left a big gap down the right side for Crystal Palace to take advantage of. And the young boy Edward is doing very well.
He is the fullback.
If they can get lots of the ball out to this right side in the second half, I think that could create Millwall problems. But okay, Millwall are very well disciplined at the back, and they don't give many goals away.
That's right. Okay, George, let's just have a look at one or two of those instances in a little bit more detail. Bobby Bowery, who was a good Palace favourite here. Great break down the left from him, a perfect ball in, and that sweep assist, and they were still coming to grips with it.
Yes, I think that was just too early in the game for this sort of movement. And Bobby Bowery, actually, I think has been one of the best players in the midfield, if not in the game, and I think he's been outstanding. That's a good break, especially from a central midfield player, where really you're being outnumbered. But a great header, tremendous header from Malkin. As I said earlier, doesn't usually score many away from home.
Well, this is the bit of joy down the right that you were mentioning. This is Hopkins with a good ball. There's a nice touch on by Friedman there. And what a left footer, George.
Great finish. As I said, because Crystal Palace earlier in the game had this spare midfield player, it gave the licence for one of them to break, and then Hopkins breaks down the right here. You get a flicked on by Friedman on the near post, and what a great left foot finish. I mean, that is quality finishing. Lots of power. But as I said, I think Crystal Palace can even get more out of Gordon down the left. And
well, they'd have been infuriated, Palace, by this one, George, and you're not very happy with Nigel Martin here, the keeper.
Well, I feel as if, first of all, there's 4 Crystal Palace defenders in front of the 2 Millwall players who are back right onto Martin there. Nigel Martin, sorry.
Nigel Martin,
He must be so disappointed.
Well, Uwe Fuchs, the German, he'll be very pleased to at last got off the mark for Millwall. But there's plenty to be decided in this match in the second half. It's still very finely balanced. at Palace 1, Millwall 2. Rejoin us for the second half in just a couple of minutes.
And running their goal. Good luck. Yellow Pages, supporters of the Sunday match.
You're back with us live at Selhurst Park. We'll have a word with Palace's Ray Lewington in just a moment. Let me update you on the half-time so far. Ipswich 0, Luton 1. Oldfield the scorer for Luton midway through the first half. And no goals at Stoke. Stoke 0, Derby 0. OK, then let's just have a little word with the Ray Lewington, one of the Palace coaches. He's chatting now to Matt.
Ray, you've had all the possession, but you're still behind. Anything different for the second half?
No, we think that we still got to get it wide. The two fullbacks that are pushing on, we've got to give them the ball as often as we can. We think the crosses and sometimes the type of crosses that we're putting in, we've got to vary it a little bit more. We don't want to just keep lamping it towards the big fella. But we just got to keep persevering. But we've got to make sure we don't give no more sloppy goals away. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, the corner.
Do you blame yourself for both goals as well? You know, not just the corner. First
one was a little bit sloppy. I mean, it's hard to see where we were, but look, if you run through two players, then we haven't stopped the cross and the fella's got in behind. But the second one from a corner, we looked so weak going up for it. Blazey just said that he hit it against his head. I'm not sure, but we got to be there first. I mean, it's the second consecutive week we're giving a corner away, goal from a corner away.
When you scored, it was as though you'd scored the goal yourself and won the lottery. It came as some relief.
Well, I just think that they need a bit of confidence to score at Selhurst. That's the problem, is that we haven't been scoring, and you know, for the players' sake, I was happy. But we, you know, as I say, we won't get anything if we give sloppy goals away.
Okay, right. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Well, you're back up in the commentary box with me, Brian Moore, alongside me, George Graham. A half-time score we've got from Goodison Park now. It's Spurs have drawn level at 1-1 now. Chris Armstrong, the scorer for Tottenham. Palace fans, of course, know all about him. You've been bubbling at half-time, George, about how much you're enjoying this game.
Yeah, it's a very good game, and as I say, Palace are going through a rebuilding situation at the club, and they brought in some new players, and the front two, Taylor and Friedman, they look as if with a little bit of work, especially on the training ground, they can contribute something to the team. Considering the 2-1 down and the position in the league, I think they will be quite pleased with themselves during this first half performance. But Millwall will be tough nut to crack. They're a good side and deserve to be where they are in the league.
What I understand is they brought Kerry Dixon on as a substitute for Chris Malkin, so the information was.
Yeah, I think Chris Malkin got a bad knock on the leg earlier in the game.
Well, he's 34 now, is Kerry, but he was telling me this week he's enjoying his football at Millwall as much as he's enjoyed it anywhere, and he's certainly had a fabulous career and one of a prolific goal-scoring ability everywhere he's played. 4 this season so far for Millwall. And a striker you always have to respect, George.
Well, he's been one of the great Chelsea goal scorers of all time, isn't he? And as long as he's enjoying it, he should carry on playing.
That's Coleman. Witter. And now Ray. To Ricky Newman. Very neat player who played mostly in midfield, Newman, in his Crystal Palace days, but Mike McCarthy saw him as a fullback and he's done well there for him. Here's Kerry Dixon with his first touch, and Coleman just banging it away. Newman, Bowery, Doyle crossing it in. Dixon was there, swooping with the header. Doyle again. Maurice Doyle. Won't come through to Fuchs. At least if it does, he's got some work to do as Edworthy tracks him out there to that far touchline. Van Block. Alex Ray. Van Blanc. Driven cross there, which Roberts got clear for Crystal Palace. And there's some room for Gordon now to exploit down this left-hand touchline. He's got Friedman and Taylor and Hopkin up alongside him. Here's Hopkin. Well, he'd thought about Edworthy too long on that right-hand side, and certainly it was an inviting pass, but Millwall closing on him so quickly. And there was a bit of frustration there in the Palace ranks that he took so long to make up his mind. Chris Coleman with the throw. Lad from Swansea. Towards Friedman, but Witter intervened. Out of play. David Hopkin, Scott from Morton before he went to join Chelsea, and then across South London to Selhurst Park. Savage, neat skills, crowd love that. Finds Van Blerk towards Dixon, but too high for him, hooked away by Coleman. Roger, neat little touch, Hopkin. Houghton. Shaw. And now Roberts. Finding Gordon. Millwall fans claim handball. Referee points to his chest to say nothing doing. Gordon again. Flick to the outside of the boot, up towards Taylor. Brings Roger into it. Left foot. It's Bobby Barry who got that way. Roger again. Good. Pushing forward here by Palace. Roger and Taylor. Straight into the arms of Keller. It was an opportunity. He hasn't yet scored for his new club in this, his fourth game. Good cross there, George.
Yeah, a good build-up between Coleman and Roger down the left flank here, and I would think Taylor would be a bit disappointed in the finish.
In the meantime, it's Edworthy. Both these Palace fullbacks, as you heard at half-time, being urged to push forward. Little touch there by Houghton. Back it comes again. And Friedman can't get it home. Houghton had a go at pushing it home, couldn't quite make a contact, and it's Kerry Dixon. And Coleman safely back to Nigel Martin. Ricky Newman. Ray. And out by Coleman. Hits it straight at Newman. Ray Houghton called to the referee for the foul on Newman. A little ticking off, no more. Alex Ray wants to get on with it. Free kick taken. Kerry Dixon coming in on the far side, but Shaw held his ground. It's a goal kick. Both these sides, of course, have got important Coca-Cola Cup games this week. Palace at home to Middlesbrough. Millwall at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Here's Edworthy playing it in. Witter does well. Needed to as well because Ray Houghton had just jinked in behind him. There's Simon Roger, flick with the outside of the boot there. He was first to it before Stevens. But
a good start to the second half, Brian. I think you've got to give Palace a lot of credit. They're pushing forward and getting the ball wide and then getting in the box, and they're putting the Millwall back four under pressure. I've not seen that this year so far.
But now Millwall can break out with Ray. Hits it straight at Roberts. Good little touch there by Friedman. Can Hopkin pick it up? He can. He's got a lot of pace and strength about him, this number 7, but sometimes his crossing leaves a lot to be desired. But as George is saying, they're pushing forward well, Palace, in the opening stages of this second half. Goal kick then to Millwall.
I think if they do get an equaliser, it's going to set the second half up for a wonderful finish.
Dixon just flicking it on. Doyle trying to find Fuchs with it. It's Newman. Now it's Doyle. Newman. Alex Ray. Kerry Dixon. Knocked wide for Doyle. Played in towards the near post. Fuchs was there, trying a little flick on. Roberts was behind him. And the flag had gone up for an offside, so it'll be a free kick. Throw. But before that throw is taken, we get a substitution. Kingsley Black coming on for Millwall. Uwe Fuchs is the man leaving the battle. Well, he's a wide player, is Kingsley Black. We'll ask George in a moment what he fancies the strategy might be now. Here's Houghton at any rate. Shaw. Still Palace moving well forward, and a little back heel by Freeman, and Shaw couldn't quite pick it up. And it's a throw to Millwall.
I just have a feeling just now, Brian, that we're just going to play with two wide players, Savage on the right, Kingsley Black on the left, and just Kerry Dixon on his own through the middle, and almost play like a set three in midfield and two wide players and one up the middle.
Well, Kingsley Black's gone away to the left-hand side, which is where he operates best, of course. Dave Savage is pulled over, as you can see, heading for this ball now, to this right touchline. Kerry Dixon through the middle.
Actually, that will also stop Edward pushing on quite a lot, which I thought they got a lot of joy for that in the first half.
Fuchs, I understand, has got he's taken a kick on the ankle. He's got a slightly twisted ankle as well. He's hobbling away down towards the dressing room now. Gets it up to Dixon. Bowery. Well, Doyle finding Van Lerk, passing it away again on Millwall, until Kerry Dixon then releases one far too long. No chance for Savage, every chance for goalkeeper Nigel Martin. Dispossessed by Stevens. Shaw. Newman's header. Chance for Savage now to attack Coleman. Plays it inside instead to Ray. Bowery. Ray. Savage. Just got his head onto that one. Edworthy guiding it back to his goalkeeper. Bit of pushing and shoving there by Gareth Taylor on Tony Witter. Free kick to Millwall. Peter Nicholas along with Ray Lewington, first team coaches here at Crystal Palace. This time Hopkin. Friedman's inside him. Here's Friedman. Here's a chance now. Stopped on the line. Do they force it in? No!
and a good ball played in here. A great run there by Dougie Freedman. Outstripping them all. Good play by Witter. Two of them tried to force it in, but in the end, Keller got the better of them. Little touch now towards Kingsley Black for Millwall as they take it up to the other end. And Dixon with a header. Well, how many times have we seen Kerry Dixon bang those in?
Well, it's end-to-end stuff just now. I mean, should have been a goal down. Here's a great ball in. Normally Kerry Dixon puts those away, but end-to-end stuff now. Crystal Palace, a great break, and should have really scored to tie it up 2 each. And then straight from that, Millwall break down the other side, and Kerry Dixon normally gets those headers in. So very exciting. Still think there's lots of goals to come yet.
I agree. I mean, that previous move was terrific. I mean, Freedman's running was excellent, wasn't it? And also, don't forget Witter, who made that wonderful save on the line, but he's given the ball away here now to Edworthy. Here come Palace again with Freedman on the far side. There's his cross. Flying Witter gets it away. Dean Gordon goes in, beats Kerry Dixon to it. Coleman bringing it in again towards Gareth Taylor on the far side. And Freedman trying to get in on the far side also. It's a throw to Crystal Palace.
Well, this is really warming up into a typical local derby now. Very, very passionate and lots of action. Really exciting stuff.
It's got a real feel about a cup tie about it at the moment. There's a good long Palace throw again. But Millwall once more get it away. Roberts getting in there, looking for that equalising goal. Witter not once but twice. And then a handball and a free kick and a bit of respite for the Millwall defence.
I must say the pressure they've been under in Millwall at times. This young boy Witter, who came from I think it was a free transfer from Queen's Park Rangers.
That's right.
He's impressed me a few times. I've seen him along with this partnership with Keith Stevens, and he's really earning his money today.
And the other irony is, George, he started his career here in the combination side, couldn't make any progress, and went to QPR. Shirt and his shorts pulled at there by Houghton, but that didn't stop him. Coleman hitting a long ball away. Freedman hoping to get on the end of it, but Stevens got there first. Here's Witter eluding one, finding Doyle with that one. Knocked wide towards Kerry Dixon. Terrific movement and passing, and a lot of excitement now in this South London derby. Millwall leading it by 2 goals to 1. The ball given away. Mistakes are coming as well. And Freedman, he stumbled for a moment, and that was long enough to get Keith Stevens in there to make the clearance. Millwall fans chanting Rhino, Rhino. They realised then what an important intervention that was. And they're going to make another substitution. Crystal Palace. Simon Rogers going off. And Bruce Dyer coming on. Except that that's not the number we've got for Bruce Dyer. I think it's Damien Matthew on. It's Damien Matthews come on. That's not Bruce Dyer. We've been given the wrong numbers. So it's a throw to Crystal Palace. Look at this pace of Freedman again, but yeah, the whistle had gone, the flag was up. Towards Taylor, too high. Doesn't jump with total conviction at the moment, George, does he?
Well, the boy Witter actually is better than what people give him credit for. He's not a 6'2", 6'3" boy, but he's got a lovely spring. And Taylor's, who I thought was very good in there, he's having his hands back there.
Again by Edworthy. Good judgment though by Casey Keller.
Friedman. Talking to the Palace coaches this week, Ray Lewington and Peter Nicholas, about Dougie Friedman. They were delighted to have got him from Barnet, and it very often works out, George, doesn't it? When you get a player, actually, you suddenly realise, as they are with him now, that he's better than they thought he was.
Yeah, and also he should get better the longer he sort of trains with his teammates. I mean, it does take you some time to settle into a side, and especially one that sort of just changes the whole tactics. So, I mean, I'm glad they're pleased with the new boy, but he has got some pace.
It's Coleman to Andy Roberts. Given away very badly there. Kingsley Black now for Millwall to Dave Savage. Kerry Dixon's in the middle. Too high for him, and Barry made a good break on the blind side there, on the far side, but couldn't quite to the end of that one. Goal kick. Friedman. Taylor trying to get in there. Millwall defending stubbornly, but there's also a lot of spirit about Ray Houghton and Damien Matthew. Palace's throw, they've quickly taken it. They found Dean Gordon with it, and Witter does well to hold him up. There's a lot of emotion out there at the moment, and say it is like a fairly feverish cup tie at the moment, with Millwall hanging on to this 2-1 win, 2-1 advantage rather. Keller comes for this one, gets a good fist on it too, but the whistle had gone in any case. Free kick.
Yeah, it's a very good local derby. Excellent, some good football, a lot of passion, a lot of commitment. I'm sure the fans are absolutely delighted with it.
And that's the Palace sub, Damien Matthew. On the referee's list, apparently, the number 12 is Bruce Dyer, but we remember him as a young boy at Chelsea before he came here, George, don't we?
Yes, certainly do.
Here's Savage. A foul on Coleman, and a free kick to Crystal Palace. Let's have a look at the watch. We've still got 20 minutes of the game, 25 minutes of the game to go. Throw to Millwall. This is Ricky Newman. Ricky Newman had a very good season with Palace last year. They went down, but he played some 35 games for them. Andy Robertson. Millwall fans behind him giving him a right rousing send-off as he hits the ball towards Gareth Taylor. Just a flick on by him. There's Witter getting it away again. I should alert you, George, to the fact also that you have to choose the man of the match later on, as you may or may not know. It's a nice little job for you.
No problem, Brian.
Here's Savage. Oh, the whistle had gone.
Millwall actually have been under a bit of pressure, and since Kingsley Black's come on down the left side, they're only playing now with Kerry Dixon on his own through the middle, and it's just probably against the way they normally play. Dixon
leaping for this one. He's got some support there with Savage. Were his feet rather high on Richard Shaw? Yes, they were. It's a free kick. The referee wants to make sure that Shaw is okay. To be fair to Savage, Shaw was bending in fairly low, and the free kick was taken not from the right place, but they're getting away with it, Palace. Until Van Blunt actually hits the ball. Yes, it's gone right over the roof of the stand into the car park behind the goal, behind the stand there. in with a good long throw he's got. Van Blurk gets it away. Houghton plays it in again. Friedman. Well, it was a volley that he hit home in the Port Vale goal last week, and he did it so beautifully.
I think Brian actually had a bit of time, a bit more time than expected there. He could have actually taken 2 touches. Yeah.
Been impressed by him, though.
Yeah, it's a nice little bit of pace, makes some nice runs behind fullbacks. He's pulled Keith Stevens and whittled about a little bit today.
That's an offside against Savage. Oh, he hits a good cross. Stevens got it away only as far as Houghton. Richard Shaw. Edworthy. There's Mark Edworthy again. Ball might fall for Damien Matthew here. Falls for Gordon in the end, but there's an intervening whistle and a free kick to Millwall.
It looks as if Savage actually has taken some of the work rate from Kerry Dixon. He's actually pushed through the middle a little bit. Now, I would then anticipate Gordon pushing on a lot more and getting a lot more involved, because he's now the spare person in the middle of the park.
You'd see Dean Gordon pushing on more.
Yeah, I think so. Like Edworthy was in the first half. Yes. I thought he was a spare player in the first half, and I thought they used him very well down the right side. Now, what they've got to do, Kingsley Black's come on and stopped him pushing forward. I think Dale Gordon's now got to really push forward and get involved a lot more.
Okay, in the meantime, it's a Crystal Palace free kick. Here is Dean Gordon right in there. Savage with a chance of bringing it away. Kingsley Black with a chance of bringing it away. Shaw looking around to see what's available to him. Plays it wide to Mark Edworthy on the far side. In for Damien Matthew. The little ball played forward. Hopkins trying to keep it going, but they're running out of space there. Yes, the ball is just fractionally out of play.
I think it's a compliment to Palace, Brian, to say that Millwall, they've not played their normal passing game today, and the main reason for that, it's not because they hadn't wanted to. I think the main reason of that Palace have kept the tempo very high and not letting Millwall settle down and get into the routine of passing the ball around. And it's full credit to Palace.
Edworthy for Palace. Beaten by Black. Not forward towards Dixon. Black takes it on again now. Surrounded by red shirts. Tries to get Bowery in. Van Blurk. Dixon over there. Bowery again. Dixon once more. Back to Van Blurk. Well, I suppose it'll come out eventually. And indeed, it's a free kick to Crystal Palace. Ray Houghton leaving it for Andy Roberts, in turn leaving it for Nigel Martin. Another substitution being made. Palace are taking off. Edworthy, bringing on Bruce Dyer. Up goes Gareth Taylor, knocked away by Newman. And Mark Edworthy, who's had a terrific game, I have to say, has gone off with a slight ankle injury. Here's Roberts.
Dean Gordon. One of those surging runs. Bruce Dyer up here with him now. That's not what Palace required. It's a Millwall throw. So how are Palace working out things now?
Well, it looks as if they've put Dyer up front with Taylor, and Friedman just sitting behind the two of them.
It's not what he really wanted, but Kerry Dixon's caught just offside. Coming towards the last quarter of an hour. Knocking it forward to Dyer. Well, Witter was truly leaning in on Dyer there. Dyer wasn't happy with it. The ball crosses the byline. The referee gives a goal kick. Kingsley back on the far side. There's some space out for him now. There's his cross. Alex Ray couldn't quite reach it effectively. Good work here by Black. He's got a good left foot on him. Spotting Alex Ray coming in. And Ray is off the field and injured at the moment. Millwall down to 10. Back on again. Coleman, Houghton, Coleman, Roberts, into Dyer. Quarter of an hour left now. Comes Keller. Shaw putting Ray in possession. Ray lifting one up over the sweeper to find Savage. And now Black. Dixon's waiting in the middle. Goal kick. Witter winning it in the air. Trying to make something of it. There was certainly a push by Dyer there on Keith Stevens. Not the corner that Palace wanted, but a free kick instead to Millwall.
I would like to see actually Crystal Palace push Friedman up with Taylor and Dyer. Just play a 3 right up the middle and see how Millwall cope with that. You'd have to bring somebody back to mark, and it would be interesting.
Yes. Pushing Coleman forward for this one. Gordon's well forward to it as well. It's Kerry Dixon who'd come back to help defend. Savage, nice little touch, finding Doyle. Black is away on the far side. Thought about a pass in that direction, then saw Ray coming up on this side. Alex Ray trying to hold off Ray Houghton. Goal kick.
to take it. Dixon up there. Hopkin. Out of play. A throw to Palace. Let's go down the touchline, get a word. Well, let's have a look at what happens here first before we go and talk to Matthew Lorenzo down on the touchline. There's Jason Van Bleur. Gets the ball well clear for Millwall. We'll be with you in a second, Matthew. Let's just wait for the ball to go to play. Doyle is injured at the moment. And, fun and games there involving 8 or 9 of them. Gareth Taylor being led away. And Bobby Barry having a few words as well. And I wonder how much the referee saw of that. Looking at the Doyle situation on the ground there, suddenly all hell seemed to be breaking loose, and Ray Houghton saying go away to Bobby Barry. Good advice. Alex Ray is also looking to be in a certain amount of trouble there. Well, George?
I think it was really between Friedman and Ray, and they were having a little tussle, and another players got involved, probably unnecessarily so, but it's calmed down now. The referee's handled it very well.
I think so. Well, it's a free kick. Shaw with it. Newman away. Okay, Matthew, let's have the news from the touchline.
Well, I was going to say that of the two benches, it's the Crystal Palace one that's been the more animated of late, but after that incident, Mick McCarthy was up imploring his players to keep their heads.
Two players down there. And the referee wanting words with Friedman and with Hopkin. And once again with Gareth Taylor. Hopkin and Taylor there. Go away, he says to Hopkin. It's Gareth Taylor who's the one who's got the problem. Ray Houghton trying to act as something of a peacemaker there. It's a yellow card. A problem there, but the referee, something must have happened after that. The ball had gone. The bar is okay. Inside the last 10 minutes now. All those little shenanigans make you realise again that the prize is a big one out there, George, today.
Yeah, I think considering the problems that you hear that's going on at the Palace, the commitment from the players has been superb today.
Well, Palace with something like 8 minutes to pull this game round now from a 2-1 deficit. In with the cross. Witter diving in. The flag was up for an offside in any case against Bruce Dyer. Gordon.
refusing to give that one up. But plays the ball straight into the benefit of Damien Matthew. Oh, given away badly there by Roberts to Kerry Dixon. But back comes Houghton. And here's Gordon. As Palace come forward again, looking for this equalising goal. Matthew. Houghton. It's a Palace free kick. In a position of potential danger at any rate. And they've certainly pushed plenty forward. Gordon delivering it, a very deep one and too deep in fact. Friedman really battling to make something of it, but it's given away. It's Andy Roberts who can play it back in again, this time to Hopkin. Newman gets it clear. Opportunity lost.
Well, they're set up for a fantastic finish. I mean, Palace have thrown everything forward, and Millwall has got a very, very good defensive record. Whether it'll crack or not, only time will tell.
Oh, there's a chance, but the whistle had gone. In any case, Damien Matthew hit the ball straight at the legs of Casey Keller. A free kick to Millwall.
Must admit, Brian, it's been a very, very close game. Nothing much between the two sides. I have seen Millwall earlier this year, and that's why they're up there at the top of the league. I think today they've probably not played at their best, and yet that's a sign of a good team. When you're not playing at your best, you're still getting results. And if they can sort of like hang on and win this game 2-1, they can say like tremendous performance, considering they can play a lot better.
Houghton. Stopped by Witter. And Dixon now takes it up for Millwall. Savage has made a terrific break through the middle there, and I thought he was going to get on the end of that one, but it just eluded him, and Martin gets it away. Hopkin again, couldn't find Friedman. Bobby Barry's had a terrific game. Kingsley Black. Ray. Barry again. But here come Palace. Friedman, it's 3 against 3. Taylor's up alongside him. The pass had to be a good one, and it wasn't. Newman brings it clear. Alex Ray now. Dixon's up there. Doyle's in here now. Savage is waiting in the middle. Dixon almost allowed to sneak in there, but Damien Matthew gets it away. What can Palace do here? Hit it long towards Gareth Taylor. Again, he's been well watched by Tony Witter. Stevens gets in. And a free kick for Palace. Coleman wants to take it quickly. Busy little stride of Ray Houghton. That's too firm, though. Saying earlier, George, that you need to name the man of the match. Look at Ray Houghton there. He's not given up the ghost, has he? No, there have been some excellent performances, I know, that you've enjoyed here today.
Well, it's been a fantastic game, as I say. Good football, a lot of passion. Just what you expect from a local derby. But I think, to me, the man of the match is Bowery.
Bobby Bowery.
Yeah, he helped make the goal in the first 5 minutes. He's completely dominated the midfield. Normally it's Alec Ray, who's been having a great season. He's been one grabbing all the headlines, but today I think Bowery, who's all-round midfield player, has been superb.
And a former Palace player too. Coleman. It's Keller's ball. Shaw gets it back. for Palace. About 90 seconds to go. If it's going to be done, it better be done now. Heave the ball towards Taylor again. But it will have to be taken again. I think there were people on the pitch on the far side. The stewards very quickly closed in. I don't know whether the referee's now having a word with the linesman about something. Well, it's been a nice, raucous local derby. Let's hope nothing stupid spoils that now. In fact, the upshot of it all is it's a free kick to Millwall. I think it must have been an offside flag. And it'll be Casey Keller who takes it, looking for the likes of Kerry Dixon up front. Well inside the last minute, the referee looking at the watch to add on time that Keller might be taking, getting this free kick moving. Roberts with a header. Dixon to Ray. Back for Dixon again. Corner given.
Quite interesting. I'm actually wondering if Keith Stevens was going up for the corner or not, because the Millwall back four have been under a lot of pressure in this game, but they've come through it and have handled it very, very well.
Stevens and Witter have stayed back. What they have, they intend to hold now this late in the game. Free kick to Crystal Palace. Well into time added on, as you can see. Taylor. Coleman thrusting it forward again. Dyer chasing, but the ever-reliable Keith Stevens galloping away, having put the ball into touch in amongst the Millwall fans. Ball has now arrived on the pitch. It's a goal kick, went behind. David Hopkin with a really good long throw. In fact, there was an infringement there. It's a free kick to Millwall. A minute and a half of time added on has been played. Hits it long, one last despairing attempt to get through this Millwall defence. Newman hammers it away for Millwall. Up goes Gordon. Now Ray. And Houghton gets possession. Hopkin now plays it to Matthew. Is it all up yet? Dyer trying to get in there, but Van Bloek gets it clear, then Newman gets it clear. Only as far as Gordon. Back it'll go again. Towards Taylor once more, but Bobby Bowery, man of the match, gets that one clear. Back now to Nigel Martin. Referee checks with both linesmen that the time is well up now. Taylor with the header. Knocked away again that time by Witter, who's had a terrific game. Kingsley Black to Van Bloek. Referee looks at the watch again. Again the ball is hammered forward towards that Millwall penalty area. Hopkin trying to get round his man. Gets a good cross in. Once again, Witter's there at the expense of a corner. Now this really is the last chance. Here comes the corner now for Palace. Floated in there. Coleman's in there, and it's just wide. Even Nigel Martin had gone up to now running back. Peter Schmeichel.
Well, what a finish that would have been, Brian, if Coleman will put that one in, but they've put an awful lot of pressure on Millwall, and Millwall have handled it very, very well. But what a finish to the game.
And that is the finish to the game. It's a victory for Millwall that now puts them second in the Ensley First Division on the same number of points as Leicester City. But they've scored fewer goals. But they got the goals that really counted here today. Chris Malkin getting that early one. Dean Gordon equalising with a thundering shot with the left foot for Crystal Palace. And then the winner coming for Millwall, and an excellent one it was as well. Mick McCarthy. Mick McCarthy will be well delighted with the application of his players there. They played really well under a lot of pressure. Fuchs, who scored the winner, of course, went off. But the man of the match, nominated by George Graham, was the midfielder of Millwall, former Crystal Palace man Bobby Bowery.
Yes, Bobby Bowery receiving his trophy from two gentlemen from Ensley Insurance. Congratulations, Bobby. Did it mean a lot to score against your old club?
Yeah, it was a very good result for the team. Great team performance today, Matt. And I thought we battled hard for the 3 points.
I said score. In fact, you made the first one. That must have been great after so little time. Just 4 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the cross, and it was a great header from Chris Malkin. But as I said, it was a great team performance today, and we're just happy to get the 3 points.
Well, you cope with the atmosphere, you cope with the occasion. See if you can cope with the heaviest trophy in football.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Bobby Bowery, terrific performance from him. I suppose in racing parlance, really the pre-match form stood up here. Palace struggling at home, but Millwall so strong away. A tremendous local derby with all sorts of ingredients, and we'll be getting more reaction from here after the break. There's a lot to come in the next half an hour or so. All the local goals in the second and third divisions, and of course in the first division of the Ensley League as well. All the weekend's goals, including a very special effort from Lee Bowyer of Charlton. He's only 18. Liverpool manager Roy Evans was at the Valley to watch him. He is some talent. And welcome back to Selhurst Park. We've had a cracking London derby here, and Millwall have won it by 2-1. That means they keep right up with the leaders of the First Division. Now settle back and enjoy a goals feast. Gabriel Clark starts with the leaders, Leicester City. Leicester increasing Dave Bassett's problems up at Sheffield United.
Leicester City's away form is championship class. There's no more positive side, and at Bramall Lane, Leicester had imposed themselves in the burly shape of Ewan Roberts within 6 minutes. The challenge inspired United to one of their best home performances so far, according to Dave Bassett. Jostein Flo's near-post flick was followed by another nice little touch. But Leicester matched United's heavyweight determination before the small but deadly Scott Taylor profited from Roger Nielsen's mistake. United had been knocked sideways, and they were down and out 9 minutes later, as Mark Blake and then David Lowe unravelled the United defence to make sure of win number 5 on the road for the league leaders. A year ago, Alan Buckley returned to the Hawthorns with West Brom bottom of Division 1. 12 months on, Buckley only has eyes for the Premiership. More of the spirit and luck that saw off Portsmouth, and West Brom must have a chance. Alan McLaughlin's penalty gave Portsmouth a surprise lead. It flattered them and lasted just 5 minutes, cancelled out by Lee Ashcroft's finish on the run from Andy Hunt's cross. Terry Fenwick faces a major challenge to stop Portsmouth's slide. They were given a bit of a push by the referee, who wasn't prepared to give Guy Butters the benefit of the doubt over his collision with Bob Taylor. Butters had already been booked, so he was off. And the stage was set for West Brom to celebrate Buckley's first birthday with a last-minute winner flicked on by Taylor and headed in by Hunt. Birmingham City are on the crest of another blue wave. Barry Fry's teams tend to be moody. Right now, everything's coming off. And Steve Claridge is getting goals every which way, even when the ball hasn't crossed the line. At least that was Grimsby's verdict. That goal opened up a hard-fought game. Gary Cooper's tantalising cross was just right for Ken Charlery to double Birmingham's lead. Grimsby should have been level at least by then, according to their manager Brian Laws, but the only chance his strikers did manage to take was Neil Wood's late tap-in. And it was soon a distant memory, eclipsed by a wonderful goal from Claridge, who turned the groans that greeted Jonathan Hunt's cross into cheers of delight. It's Birmingham's third league win in a row. They had to wait for the goals at Huddersfield as well. Then 19 minutes from the end, young sub Rodney Bowe got away down the right. His cross was missed by the Sunderland defence, but not the Huddersfield top scorer, Andy Booth. But Sunderland have been knocked into shape by Peter Reid, turned from a side hovering around the bottom half into playoff contenders. Phil Gray's 83rd minute goal made it 8 league games unbeaten for Sunderland. Last week it was Brian Robson, this week it was Liverpool's Roy Evans who spent his day off watching Charlton and apparently Lee Bowyer. The 18-year-old didn't disappoint and crowned a bright performance with his 9th and possibly his best goal of the season thus far. It was still a bit tough on Norwich, whose possession didn't look like being translated into goals until Mark Bowen, up from full-back, caught Charlton cold. But the spectacle in front of Charlton's biggest crowd this season wasn't helped by some overzealous refereeing. 7 players were booked, and Charlton will lose John Robinson suspended after his red card. Norwich and Charlton remain on the fringe.
We've stumbled a little bit at home, and we need to get a couple of wins. So let's hope our next home game, Sunderland, is a result for us.
Tranmere resurrected something like the home form that's taken them to the playoffs 3 seasons running. And maybe they found a long-term successor to John Aldridge. Ian Moore, just 19, is the sorcerer's apprentice. He's got another good teacher in Gary Bennett, the country's top scorer with Wrexham last season, and now acclimatising alongside Aldo. Bennett's second in 2 games made sure there would be no happy return to Merseyside for Ronnie Whelan. And the game ended as it began, with Pat Nevin supplying the ammunition and Moore continuing his tuition at the Tranmere finishing school. 3-0. Jan Mulby's left Liverpool for another month on loan at Barnsley, who looked like warming up for their Coca-Cola tie with Arsenal on Tuesday with a rousing win. Yet Owen Archdeacon's goal 90 seconds in was as good as it got. Port Vale dug in, and Steve Guppy scored a deserved equaliser. Reading's rollercoaster season continues. So impressive 7 days earlier against Huddersfield, there was nothing like the same inspiration at Oldham, who deserved the lead given them by Lee Richardson. Reading were gifted a way back into it 3 minutes before half-time. Paul Holsgrove's shot was so badly mishit. Maybe that's what unnerved Paul Gerrard into an inexplicable fumble. Stuart Lovell couldn't miss. Yet Oldham recovered their poise. Even if their winner came from an unexpected source, teenager David Beresford had only been on the field 7 minutes. But that's not a bad way to score your first goal in league football. Watford's biggest crowd this season came to praise Graham Taylor, architect of so much at Vicarage Road, but expected to achieve so much at Wolves. A brilliant goal from Tony Daly threatened to win the game, but Watford aren't the first side to recover against Wolves, who just can't seem to hang on to a lead. David Holdsworth prepared for his battle with Alan Shearer in the Coca-Cola on Tuesday by heading Watford's equaliser.
Once again, some terrific goals there in the first division of the NZ League. Things are warming up, I suppose, now that the clocks have changed. It's almost as though the season proper has started. Well, next season we go, or next week I should say, we go to Luton. Luton have really been struggling to cope with life after David Pleat's departure. Luton at Ipswich this afternoon. Luton's game at Ipswich, and the commentators there are Jerry Harrison, and alongside him it's Alan Brazil.
Well won by Stockwell. Just wide. And then again, oh, it's deflected straight into the arms of Foyer. Davis to Johnson, to Harvey. Scott Oakes is out there. And forward goes Oldfield with Linnigan. Now Oldfield wants support. They're getting players forward, Luton. Oldfield cutting inside. It's a great effort.
Well, that is a cracking goal. No doubt about that. That is a cracking goal from Oldfield. Took the ball down the left-hand side. No wonder he's celebrating. That was a great strike indeed.
So it's Ipswich Town 0, Luton Town 1. David Oldfield, the scorer. And here goes Olympique and Matthew, and a great save by Foyer. That's really livened things up.
Oh, that's great news. You know, I was just beginning to think that Ipswich are getting a bit frustrated, having all the early possession, but couldn't make it count with goals. And then suddenly, the counter-attack, good strike from Olympique, but the big keeper there does well.
Well, 22 minutes of the game left. In theory, that's plenty. But you've got to try and recognise a spark or two of hope. But here's Olympique breaking forward here with a chance. Olympique with the equaliser. Good stop by Foyer. And a good catch.
Well, that's more positive from Gus Olympique. You know, making his run, powering his way into the box. Again, you hope he scores, and you see the disappointment in George's face and Dale Roberts. But let's give the big American from Las Vegas, let's give him the benefit of the doubt here. This is a good stop. Ullenbeck, lovely touch here, takes it inside. Now he's got the chance to strike. Well, look, the big man makes himself big, and that's a good stop.
Again by Pete. And Marshall's broken away here with Oakes in the middle. Marshall. Oh, gracious me, just past the post.
Well, Scott Oakes put his hand up there. You know, he felt that Marshall should have squared it, but in saying that, Marshall may have felt that Oakes had drifted into an offside position. But feigns the shot, comes inside. Let's see how close this is. Look, Forrest is beating, I would say, a good foot wide.
And here's Matthew.
Well, when it's not going, it's not going. But I thought this was quality. This is, you know, Marshall played his part, flicked it to Matthew. What a great strike. I don't think the big goalkeeper would have got that one. This is excellent. Good play from Williams. Here comes a flick from Marshall. Great strike. Just can't quite hit the target.
So this afternoon's results then, Everton 1, Tottenham 1. Graham Stewart, former Chelsea player for Everton, and Chris Armstrong, who of course played for Palace and for Millwall for Spurs. And confirmation of this afternoon's results, first Palace 1, Millwall 2. More words from George Graham on that in a moment. Luton with that victory at Ipswich, and of course we go to Kenilworth Road next week. And Stoke 1, Derby 1. Keane for Stoke and Van der Laan the scorers for Derby. Let's just check how the Division 1 table looks. Well, if Millwall had got a few more goals, they'd be top. But Millwall 25 points level with Mark McGee's Leicester. What a good start they've made to the season. And Charlton, with all those good young players, up there in 10th place, First Division of the Ensley League. Well, Palace would have looked to have moved up a few more places, but there they are in 20th place, just above Luton, who have improved, moved off the bottom, and Watford neck and neck with Palace, I suppose you should say, on 19. Southend up there in 13th. OK, George Graham is with us. George, what will you take home when you drive back from here? What will be your overriding memories of this particular derby?
Well, looking at the table, Millwall sitting second and Palace near the bottom. It was a much closer game than that. I think Millwall got off to a flyer, goal in the first few minutes. And I've seen them a couple of times this season, Millwall. They're a good side, and I expect them to be up there at the finish. But I thought Palace actually fought back very well. They put Millwall under a lot of pressure, especially towards the end of the game. But Keith Stevens and Witter at the back held very tight under the pressure. But I would think Millwall, without playing at their best, would be quite happy with that result today. They were delighted with it.
I was going to say that, George, the defensive organisation that Mick McCarthy and Ian Evans have installed all the way along the line and with Keller behind them. I mean, you can see why Millwall are so mean away from home have done so well.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously worked very hard in the training ground at it. As I said, over the past few seasons, Millwall have had a very, very tight defence, and they've sort of like made their efforts based on that. I think that probably the games I've seen them this season, they probably just need a lethal finisher, somebody to get in among the goals a little bit more. But as I said earlier, I expect them to be up there towards the end. But a very, very good side, played good football, but again, won today without probably playing at their best. OK, George, thanks for the moment. And anyway, well, Alan Smith was in George's position with us as a live guest on the Sunday match last Sunday. Of course, Alan was in charge here at Crystal Palace last season. And yesterday, well, I saw his Wycombe team give Oxford United a right old chasing at the Manor Ground.
This is the biggest fixture of the season for many Wycombe fans. They won this derby game last year to badly dent Oxford's promotion chances. Dave Farrell's corner kicks propelled Wycombe to an even more convincing win this time round. Having curled one straight in, Farrell then arced another corner onto the head of Terry Howlett. Dave Carroll was another of Wycombe's inspirational players. Now switched to centre midfield, and it was from his cross that Miguel de Souza made it 3 goals in a remarkable 19 minutes. Oxford recovered briefly to threaten Wycombe's dominance early in the second half. Their big number 9, Paul Moody, put himself about, and David Smith prodded one in past Paul Hyatt. But it was Wycombe who ended with the flourish as Carroll tricked his way into the area and was a bit too clever for Matt Murphy. Steve McGavin did the rest from the penalty kick, and Wycombe are in among the contenders. They're in 7th position. At last, a home win for Brentford. Free kicks and corner kicks found out Peterborough's defence, with Jamie Bates the man Peterborough just couldn't mark. Having headed one in, Bates then bundled in another to put Brentford 2 up at half-time. Early in the second half, Bates would have completed a hat-trick, but for Greg Rioch's handball on the line. The son of the Arsenal manager was off, and Brentford were smoothly on course for a win that lifts them up 6 places. Martin Granger made it 3-0. It's now 3 league defeats in a row for Leyton Orient, but this was the most disappointing. Scunthorpe were all but propping up Division 3. Winless in a month, they were still too sharp for Pat Holland's team, who threatened after Jamie Patterson's opener, but then came Chris Hope's late free kick. This was an important result for Ian Branford. Fulham's form has dipped alarmingly, and Chester, second in Division 3 at the start of the day, looked like running away with the points. But Eddie Bishop's goal was all Chester could manage. And Fulham got away with an equaliser thanks to a smash-and-grab corner routine, finished off by Mike Conroy. Collapse of the day was at Barnet, who dominated the first half. Then, all of a sudden, I had 11 different players on the field, said the Barnet manager Ray Clements. And they weren't as sharp or as lively as Rochdale's. Jason Peake put the finishing touch to a swift counter-attack. Goal number 2 was an action replay. Mark Stewart did the honours this time. Within 4 minutes, he'd scored again. Clements must have been cringing at the space and time Rochdale were allowed. And that wasn't the end of the agony. There was still time for Rochdale to exploit the wide-open spaces down the left again, and for Steve Whitehall to make it 4-0.
There'll be a few people in North London wishing that Dougie Friedman was still at Barnet. Ensley League Extra, by the way, with Gabriel Clark. There's always 12:40 tomorrow night. Let's pop back down to Matthew Lorenzo around the dressing room area. He has Palace's Peter Nicholas with him.
Peter, you throwed everything in there except the kitchen sink and it still didn't work.
Yes, that's right. You know, we're a bit obviously very disappointed with the result because we thought we'd give 2 bad goals away, and actually it's the best we've played this season.
Mick McCarthy, your opposite number, paid you the ultimate compliment by saying that they weren't on the back foot there, they were being pushed back towards the end of the game.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we played a new system which we've only worked the last couple of weeks, and you know, it is a going forward system which we showed today. But you know, at the end of the day, you've got to put the ball in the net, and we didn't do that.
How important was today's defeat? Not only the 3 points lost, but the fact that if you'd won your games in hand, you'd be right back amongst them.
Yeah, that's right. We thought that before the game. First 5 minutes, as I say, we give a bad goal away, and we're always chasing the game. But I feel if you give 2 goals away, you've got to score 3. And in the way we played today, we could have, but we didn't.
All you've got to do now is beat Barrow on Wednesday night.
Yes, that's right. Obviously it's a good game for the players. It's a Premier League team. Hopefully it's a good crowd, and hopefully we can get a result.
OK, Peter, thanks a lot.
Cheers.
So coming up next Sunday, Luton Town against Charlton, the Sunday match. We're live from Kenilworth Road, and Chelsea's Gavin Peacock is our studio guest, 2:30 next Sunday. And then those Coca-Cola Cup ties that Peter and Matt mentioned there. Tuesday night, 11:40, Arsenal against Watford, or Arsenal and Watford, I should say, on Tuesday night. Them both involved, of course, Watford against Blackburn and Arsenal up there at Barnsley. And on Wednesday, all the other local teams, Spurs, Palace, Millwall, QPR, West Ham and Charlton join Bob Wilson, 10:45 on Wednesday night. George, I'd just like to have a final word before we go. A lot's been said about our game and the continental game. Are we as bad as everybody says?
I don't think so. I think it's only the past couple of years that Arsenal both won the Cup Winners and got to the final. So it can be proved otherwise. But I think the thing I've been disappointed about is the technical, not only the technical side again, but the tactics. I think technically, by and large the Continentals are superior, but I think tactically we can match them, if not better them. And that's what I've been a little bit disappointed with. But I'm just looking forward to sort of like seeing Notts Forest next week. They had a great result against Auxerre, but Auxerre are a good side, so I think there's still a lot to be played for. But I was at Stamford Bridge yesterday, so a very exciting team. Lots of exciting players. English football is still very popular all around the world.
I was going to say that. I mean, here, the sort of product that we've had this afternoon, you can see why people around the world love watching the English and indeed the British game.
Well, they love the British game because of the passion and the challenge, the physical challenge. I mean, we could definitely, and we need to, work on the technical part, but I think we need to start it off in the schools first of all.
Would you see, just finally, do you think Palace here, just bringing it back to the game we've seen this afternoon, have they got the ability to get up there with Millwall?
I don't see why not. I think, considering that they changed a new system today, I thought they took the game to Millwall. I've seen Millwall a few times this year. They've been very comfortable and played very well, and today was the most I've seen them under pressure. So I think Palace can gain a lot out of the game today and hopefully take it forward against Middlesbrough during the week.
Let's hope so. George Graham, thanks very much indeed. Thanks for your company this afternoon. OK then, a committed, fierce derby, bowled over a couple of times here, but really Millwall's controlled football. Well, they got the points in the end, and they deserve it. They are still unbeaten away from home and still right up there at the sharp end of the table. Bye-bye from us all.
Bigger and it gets better every week. Welcome to the Footballers Football Show on the road tonight with, as you've probably guessed, Millwall Football Club. We're in the company of the manager of Millwall, Mick McCarthy. We also have with us Millwall and America's #1, Casey Keller. this goes on, we won't have to work for long. Also delighted to see with us Dennis Law. And George Best. And we're at the New Den. Millwall Rovers were formed in the summer of 1885 by workers at Morton's Jam and Marmalade Factory on the Isle of Dogs. The club became known as Millwall Athletic, and by 1889 they were a real force in the Southern League. In 1900, the club caused a major upset, beating Aston Villa to reach the FA Cup semi-finals. They reached the semis again 3 years later, but this time fell to Derby County. However, the team's fighting qualities were much admired, and they became known as the Lions of the South. In 1910, the Lions found a long-term home at the Den, a ground developed on farmland for £10,000. After the First World War, Millwall became founder members of the Football League's new third division. Promotion in 1928 marked the start of 60 years of highs and lows in pursuit of First Division football. Millwall again reached the FA Cup semi-finals in 1937. They were beaten this time 2-0 by a rampant Sunderland. Even bomb damage to the Den during the Second World War couldn't quash the enthusiasm of either players or their avid support. Eventually, after 103 years and 61 seasons in the Football League, the Lions reached the First Division. Manager John Docherty took his team to a 10th place finish in their first season. In August 1993, Mick McCarthy's team moved into a new Den and are now playing their way into contention for a Premiership place. Our Monday night football cameras were at the New Den last night to see what a lot of people thought was going to be the tie of the round.
The Goldrich corner. Oh, and Keller hasn't got it! It's ended up in the back of Millwall's net, and they will feel they're out of the FA Cup.
And foul came the noisy cry on the floor as we saw that. Welcome, Mick. Have you got over that?
Just about, yes, just about. No, not really. If you want the truth.
Of course we want the truth. There's some cruel ways to lose, but blimey, that must be amongst the worst, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you don't like losing at any time. I think you can tolerate losing if you're being beaten, good style, being hammered, or if... As last night, as the lads played exceptionally well, it would have been a great goal. Even if it had been a fair goal, in my opinion, I don't think it wasn't a fair goal. Shouldn't have stood him. Casey was fouled yesterday.
Don't suppose you're going to argue with him, are you?
No, boss is always right.
There's a first.
Tell us about it then from your point of view.
It was just difficult. I just saw the cross come in, cut in front of Paul. He kind of hit me over the head with his right arm, and the ball went loose as I tumbled to the ground. You know, I think a few of our players might have been waiting for the whistle, and it just didn't come, and the ball kind of, I think it went off my leg and into the goal.
Mm. Yes, I think it was probably going wide, just to add
I think it was going wide also, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
I asked Andy Gray about it, and he said it was a good goal, but then he is a member of the Strikers Union, isn't he?
Well, yes, I mean, I don't know, I felt I was obstructed, definitely, and hit over the head with an arm, and usually when you go up to catch a ball, you don't expect someone to hit you over the head, so...
It's silly of me to say forget about the goal, because you can't, that's why you're out. But there must have been things from that game last night that heartened you.
Yeah, I was very pleased with all the team. Every one of them that played, I thought played very well. They all took a great deal of credit from it, from playing a side that supposedly are one of the best in the country. And it actually makes me laugh because they keep talking about, shows like this keep talking about the way football should be played. And I believe my team last night played the game the way it should be played properly. The ball was knocked around. And thanks a lot. And I thought we were the better side for a lot of that game. At the end of it, what really annoys me is Arsenal can turn around and say, oh, we're in the next round, and that's what really sticks in the craw.
Well, that was the next question, really, taking my life into my hands in this company. But as well as you played, you are out, and I suppose they will say, we went to Millwall, we did a good professional job, and we're in the 4th round.
Yeah, well, they can say that. As I said, I think we played well. Every one of the lads can take credit from the way they played. They did do a professional job. I actually take heart from the way they came and defended against us and changed the shape of their team to stop us playing a team that has cost considerably more than our team has anyway. Probably almost as much as the ground has, to be quite honest. And
it's a fabulous ground, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Really
and they turn up and try and stop us playing. Well, that is credit to our players.
Yes.
Yeah, they've won in the end, but that's what matters. I know it does. That's what matters. I'm a pro. I want to win.
Nick Collins sends his best wishes, by the way.
Yeah, send him mine back, will he?
You may not have seen it. The two had an altercation after the match, didn't you?
At the end of your arm, send them back.
Now, here's a fella that never fouled a goalkeeper in his life.
Correct.
An unbiased opinion from you, Dennis?
Completely unbiased, and because I'm here at Millwall, the new den, I watched the game on television last night, a nice pot of tea and a bacon sandwich and comfort there. And honestly, it was nice to see the way that Millwall played football, and that's how I'd like to see teams play football. And as Mick said, I think it's the stature of Millwall that Arsenal came here to defend, and they did that. And they, you know, it was one of those games which you got to watch and you think it's got to be a 0-0 result, or Arsenal got to sneak away and get a winning goal. As the game went on, I thought, well, this is going to finish 0-0. I couldn't see Millwall scoring, to be perfectly honest, because Arsenal, they defended, you know, boringly. But at the end, and I'm not saying this because I'm at Millwall, but there was no doubt in my mind that that was a foul on the goalkeeper. Seriously, I am not saying that because I'm here. I honestly felt that if that game had been played in Italy or anywhere on the continent, the referee would have definitely given a foul. And I felt that many referees last night would have given a foul for that, the challenge on the goalkeeper.
And to be fair to Dennis...
And to go out, you know, losing in the last minute as well is bad enough losing anyway, but to lose like that, I thought the referee made a mistake. He should have been a foul.
And to be fair to Dennis, he didn't know where Millwall was, so, I mean... Yeah.
I didn't, actually, no, I didn't. I know what it is now.
Welcome, George. Nice to see you.
Thank you,
what was your verdict on the game last night?
Yeah, I think just the same as everyone said. I thought they're very unlucky to go out like that. But having said that, Arsenal, you know, their cup record's unbelievable. And you might not enjoy watching it at times, but you look at their record over the last couple of years in the cup, it's phenomenal. And they do defend well. But it's a shame, but, you know, I think there's always good comes out of stuff like that. And I think now the team's going well. They've got a fabulous new place here. It's terrific. And let's concentrate on the lads and getting up.
Let's get another word from the manager on the way the game was played last night, Mick. We'll get into this maybe more deeply a little later. Big club, little club, and what you expect from the press and referees in those situations. But you played some lovely stuff last night, and I read today that the reason you didn't make an impression was because it was powder puff football. If Manchester United had approached the game in the same way last night, we'd have been drooling over the way they played. Yeah, well, I think I've spoken about this before, that programmes again like this want to talk about the way football should be played. And we're attempting to do that. As Swindon, Chelsea, you know, West Ham, when they were struggling, they were playing the football. Sorry about that, folks, I know you don't like it. It's true, they do play football the right way. When it's going right, everybody loves it, it's wonderful. You know, yeah, that's the way football should be played. Man U, they've spent a few quid to be able to play football like that. Now, we, the small clubs, the lesser clubs, haven't spent that money, and I think it's admirable that there are a lot of teams trying to play that way. When we're playing that way and we're not being successful, you know, a few people get off our case. Let us keep trying to play that way. So give us a bit of confidence, get behind us, encourage us to play that way, not knock us. Don't say that's not the way to play, you know, there's winning football. I heard a quote from another top manager who came back to me and it said that there's no such thing as the long ball game. Well, if that's the case, I've had my head up my backside for the last 45 years. Because there is. And we try and play football, there is a long ball game. I'm not saying that Arsenal played it, but just encourage us. Encourage the teams that are trying to play football to continue doing it. it's actually not a bad point, George. When Glenn Hoddle and Chelsea were going through that horrible run, I think it was one draw out of 10 matches, all the discussion then was that they'll have to change. He'll have to fight and kick and scrap his way out of that. But he stuck by his principles, and off the back of 3 wins, there's a little bit of breathing space now. Do you believe you can play and get the reward as a result of playing?
Well, Mick made a great point, didn't he? I mean, teams like Manchester United and Blackburn, who are spending millions on players, can afford to play that way because they've got the players to play that way. The lesser teams who are trying to play football, the bottom line is you can't play football unless you've got the players. And some teams just don't have the players to play the sort of football. They get success. If you've got the players, you'll get success, which is why Manchester United are having success at the moment, because they've spent millions on getting the right players who can play football and get trophies by playing football. But if you don't have the players to do it, you can't win trophies.
You stayed away from football for a long time because you didn't like what was happening to it. You're back, you're watching, involved, and enjoying what you're seeing. Is that as a result of the change of attitude?
Yeah, I think the last couple of years, the type of players we've seen come into the league and play over here, a lot of foreign players coming in, which I think is terrific for the game. You're seeing players that you normally wouldn't have seen, and I think overall the standard in the last couple of years, we've seen some terrific matches, haven't we, on Sky, and some terrific goals, and some of the goals being scored in this country at the moment, if they were being scored in Italy or Germany or Holland, people would be talking about them for months. And
we're too quick to knock our own game often, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it's improving, and also a great thing, going back to the improvements for the spectators. You know, a few years ago when they were talking about, you know, all-seater stadiums, all the fans were going crazy, saying, we don't want to sit. And Casey knows, you know, in America, if you ask someone to stand at a match, they think you're nuts. We used to tell them, when I played over there for 7 years, now I used to tell them, people stand for an hour and a half watching a game, and they say, they're crazy over there, aren't they? And it's changed, and it's great change. Some of the stadia in this country at the moment are terrific. This one included, you know, you go and see people sitting down, enjoying themselves. You've got to have comfort as well in this sport, and it's great.
You made the point for me almost. That was the next question. The stadium that you play in here, I mean, it's first class now, isn't it? And very much American in that sense.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, just I think size is the only difference. If it held 80,000, it'd be an exact copy of an American stadium, and what people want and what people deserve. If they're paying the money, they deserve to have the comfort. They don't need to go, you know, walk around the ground to use the facilities. They should be there for them to get the comfort that they want out of the price that they deserve.
Your first trip to Millwall, Dennis?
Yes,
You've had a look
excellent.
around? What do you make of it?
Excellent. Lovely stadium. Beautiful stadium. Lovely people as well, aren't they? Seriously, I
can go from week to week.
Seriously, I can crawl with the best. There's no danger at all. But I think the most important thing is that the team does play football. I know it's very difficult for smaller clubs as well because they haven't got the resources, which, you know, players costing millions of pounds. But if they persist in keep playing football, I think the fans, I don't know about you, I mean, do you want to see football being played or do you want to see a long ball? And it's as simple as that. And if you ask the majority of fans, they want to see football being played. I know at the end the results are so important for the club, you know, if they get relegated or they get promotion and whatnot. But really, at the end, if teams persist in trying to play football, the people will enjoy it and give the team support. And that's what Millwall have done.
We've got to take a break in a moment. Just before we do, to stay with this a touch longer, Mick, where did your principles about playing the game come from? You were a big stopper.
Correct.
Not one that you'd maybe associate the glorious game with, being played the right way. We had a manager here last night, Stroller, George Graham, who used to like to play football as a player, and yet we've heard here tonight, and this is not my opinion, because I can crawl with the best, that they play it differently.
Well, let's just clear one thing up. George has got a wonderful record as a manager. Don't knock him.
We're not knocking him.
We shouldn't be knocking him.
We're talking about style of play.
But my principles, I mean, I think you forget, I was a very skillful centre-half.
I did forget, yes.
I could keep a centre forward up on each foot for 50. So, I like playing football. I enjoy training with the lads, and we have five-a-sides. I'd love to be able to be a silky player, a silky footballer, a George Best or a Dennis Law. I wasn't, but I tell you what, I made the best of what I got. I had a good career out of being a fairly ordinary player, but somebody who worked very hard. Now, we keep talking about playing football, and the way it should be played. Just because teams play football doesn't stop them also having players actually go around and tackle, compete for everything, for themselves, for the club, for the families. They are doing that for their livelihood. And they go around, we encourage, we have closing down sessions, and we play football, but believe me, we had a game away in Portugal the other day, and we had to stop it. We were getting beat 6-1, and I mean, I was the guilty party going around kicking the players, and we had to stop it. I don't like getting beat, and it rubs off. The lads don't like getting beat. And you can still go around tackling and work and close down, but when you've got the ball, you know, we like to open up and pass it around.
Well, well done last night. We enjoyed ourselves. I hope that's going to continue throughout the course of the evening. We're at the New Den, as I said, with the Footballers Football Show. More in a moment or so. Welcome back to the Footballers Football Show, on the road tonight with Millwall. We're in the company here of Dennis Law and Mick McCarthy, the Millwall manager, Casey Keller, goalkeeper in these parts, and George Best. Before we go on, all the best to one of our old mates, Ray Clements, with his new challenge at Barnet, and somebody else with a new job this past week. Dennis, on your toes now.
What, me?
Yeah.
What?
Not you. No, Mike. You just looked as though you were drifting away there for a moment.
Oh, right.
Mike Walker, who's got a new job at Everton. What do we think of Mike's move to Goodison Park?
Me?
Yes. Can you believe that? And I've warned him half a minute ago.
I was away on another planet there. I don't know. I'm sorry. You sort of caught me in the hop there. He's done an excellent job at Norwich. But it's very difficult, isn't it, you know, to lose the manager halfway through the season. You know, when a big club comes in and you wonder what's happened at Norwich. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of what's happened behind the scenes, but you felt that it's either... I mean, if the manager's like a player, isn't it? If he wants to go, he's going to go through the contract or whatever. But if you felt that Norwich were going to be... If they wanted to retain him, because apparently he was the lowest paid manager in the Premier League, if they wanted to retain him, then they should have offered him some money. I don't know. But from Mike Walker's point of view, he's done a marvellous job. And I think that the challenge at going to Everton, with the money that they've got there, I think he'll do terrific.
George, I think you're a big fan of Mike Walker's, aren't you?
Yeah, same as Dennis. I think he's done a terrific job. But when we were up at Norwich, I don't know if you remember, I said at the time I felt that there was a little bit of unrest between Mike Walker and the chairman. I don't know if that's anything to do with the fact that he left it eventually.
I think that came across, didn't it, too, on the programme?
I think it did, yeah. And I said after the show that I felt it would just be a matter of time before he left, and I don't want to appear a smart ass, but you know, but I am. And I think if a club like Everton, and he's been promised apparently money to spend as well, and getting 3 times what he was getting at Norwich, if you believe the reports, I think it's very difficult. And a lot of people talk about loyalty, but it can work both ways. Loyalty, you know, got to realise a lot of managers have lost their jobs.
Yes. Is there any loyalty in football, Mick?
That's a good question to ask me, isn't it? Yes, there is. Yeah, there is. Loyalty to the pound note, I suppose, if you want. It just depends. George, you said loyalty has to work both ways. It's all right being loyal to a place, but if he's not getting his just desserts, and he might get the sack if he's not successful. I mean, the people will move on. Dennis made the point, they're like players. People are ambitious. If he thinks it's a better move, nobody can argue with him.
And yet if Casey Keller came into your office tomorrow morning and said, I'm ambitious, I fancy a move, I'd like to play somewhere else.
Casey, you're in trouble.
I'm in deep trouble.
It'd ruin that American smile of his. Now, if Casey comes in and says that to him, he wants, if at the end of this season, please God, we're in the Premier League. If not, and he comes and says to me, look, Mick, I want to play in the Premier League, I want to play international football, and the only way I'm going to get that is playing the Premier League. I have been a footballer, I have to recognise that, the ambition. And I'd have to go to the board of directors, we'd have to talk about it. And then we'd probably put £5 million on his head and see who could come up with it. So, you know, welcome to the real world.
I don't think there's much chance of that happening. He was standing at the back of the room before we started, very proud, and saying to me, there is only one Millwall. I mean,
Can I just say, I'm not suggesting there is any chance of that happening, but he asked me a question.
Yes.
I'm giving you a realistic answer to what, if it did happen, the scenario came up. we'd have to sort it out.
I think it's a good point as well. You have to look at the overall situation, don't you? I mean, it's an interesting situation, I suppose, at QPR at the moment with Les Ferdinand. The talk of him going. Now, if you're talking about a player who, if he wants to go, and they're talking about £4 million, I mean, that's a lot of money to any club. So if they think it's in the best interest to let him go for that sort of money and use the money to try and replace him or buy a couple of extra players, then you've got to look at the overall situation. The QPR fans, I suppose, wouldn't be very, very happy. But if the player wants to go and the club want to get the money, so you've got to say, well, that's the situation, we've got to do it.
But if the manager walks out on a contract and the first player knocking on his door wants away, how can he talk to that player about loyalty, abiding by a contract, seeing it through to the end of its time?
But
does that not become compromised?
To be fair, I mean, that has happened in football for years and years and years. I mean, this is not a new thing, is it? Whether it's with the player or managers, this happens all the time. There is no answer to that, is there?
If that player was a centre forward who scored 30 goals and the team was riding high in their league, and he was the lowest player in that team, I think he'd be entitled to come in and knock on the door and ask for a rise. And if not, then he'd be looking to get away, and I think he'd be in his rights.
Have Everton made a good choice?
I think so, yeah.
I would say so, yeah. On what he's done at Norwich, he's an obvious choice.
Right, OK. And John Dean at Norwich City, George, they won you a few bob last year, of course, didn't they, with your bet? You said they'd finish in the top 3, and they did. Yeah. How's John Dean going to find it without Mike Walker at Norwich?
Well, you never know in that situation. It can work both ways, can it? The players might want to say, OK, well, we'll show we can do it no matter who's in charge. And I think John Dean will... I'd like to see him try and play the same way as Mike Walker has been playing. I mean, they played some terrific stuff and been reasonably successful. A great away record, so let's just hope they play. It's very difficult because they're not regarded as one of the top glamour clubs. And they don't, I don't know, financial, but they don't seem to have a lot of money to spend, so it makes it very, very difficult for them.
Well, we wish them both well, of course. Mike Walker and Norwich City are very good friends of ours here on Sky Sports, and they've done well for us over this past season or so. Let's get Casey Keller involved. Are you looking forward to the World Cup, Casey?
Yes, definitely. I think it's going to be a huge event and very, very good for American soccer, definitely.
Yeah, although there are a number of critics still asking what on earth is the World Cup doing being played in America. What's the case for the defence?
Well, FIFA likes money, I think, is basically in defense of, you know, I mean, you have the small stadium, I think, holds about 70,000. You have every game sold out. I mean, there's one stadium in England that holds 70,000. And you have, you know, stadiums across, I mean, it's sold out basically a year and a half in advance. I mean, you can't knock the dollar signs. I mean, FIFA's going, we want America involved in football. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, you figure you have the next World Cup staged in France. Well, at least we qualified for 90. You know, I mean...
I think we can let him get away with that.
You know, I mean, they're saying, well, America doesn't deserve to play because of their past records, but, you know, it's difficult. It's a very difficult situation. It's always been considered a secondary sport in the U.S., but it's, if you look at youth participation, it is the #1 sport in America.
Do you think it'll have the effect that I think FIFA and the Americans would like it to have, that there will again be life after the World Cup, that football will set some roots again in the States?
Well, I don't know if it's going to make or break anything. I think it's definitely going to give it a boost. But it's going to take a while. It's going to take the kids like myself to take my kids to the game. Someone who grew up with the game and understands the game to take their kids. I mean, my dad knows absolutely nothing about football. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that. I mean, he was a baseball player. He knows absolutely nothing about it.
Well, where did you get the bug for football from?
Everyone plays it. I was a kid, interested in sports, saw a bunch of kids playing the game, and thought to myself at age of 6, I'd like to give it a try. Was very successful at it, and things have taken off from there. So it's there. Everyone plays it. And it has to continue, because those kids who play it enjoy it, and they're going to have kids someday and are going to want to watch it.
You don't think it'll be a success, Dennis? Did I see you nodding your head, or that it won't set roots down? Football in America?
The World Cup will be a success in America. There's no doubt about that. As Casey said, every game is sold out. You know, fantastic crowds. But to be fair, will football carry on, or soccer as they call it in America? Will that carry on after the World Cup? There's no way in the world. I mean, they don't know anything about the game, do they? They really don't. I mean, apart from Casey, but they don't. I mean, they're not. I mean, I don't think there's any television station taking it other than cable telly. I mean, they don't really know that the World Cup is happening in America. And I just felt at the time that it was done. Well, we all know it's done solely for money, and the World Cup should not be played in America. I've said that right from the beginning. It was only done for money.
Let's see what the audience think about that. Can I just pose that question? Should the World Cup be staged in America? Anybody out here that pleased that that's the case? One down here.
Well, I'll be quite pleased. At least I'll be able to see someone out there I can support the World Cup, you know?
But in the main, most people here don't like the idea that the World Cup's going to America. Am I right? Can we see a show of hands on that?
Well, they don't know anything about the game, do they?
OK, I thought that would be a...
baseball.
Hold on, one at a time. Who doesn't care, then, that the World Cup is being staged in America?
Could have been played in England, then we'd have all been winning it there.
But you're saying you don't care. Are you not interested now in the World Cup because England haven't qualified? Who's got something to say on that? Gentleman down the back here. Let's go down the back, right the way down the back. Can you follow me here? Behind the post as well.
England are not in the World Cup. It doesn't matter. We watch it on the television anyway, so I'm sure it'd be a good spectacle, but for us it's a non-event, really.
What about the Republic of Ireland? They're going, of course, aren't they? Gentleman over here with a question for me. Blimey, it's a fair way back down there, I'm tired.
Well, I'm Irish by birth, so I'm supporting the Irish team in America, so I'm pleased that Ireland are qualified, and I feel sorry for England, but Ireland done it the hard way. They had to score goals, and when the opportunity came, they took it and qualified. England
good luck to them.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, good luck to them too. Dennis, are you having an argument down here with somebody?
I wasn't actually.
What was she saying?
No, I wasn't. No, I'm just saying that. No,
Are you having an argument with this lady? What were you saying?
No, I was saying that I'm very pleased it's in America because my country, Jack's Army, are in it, the Irish Republic, and there are more Irish in America than there are anywhere else.
Well, that's fair enough. Yes, that's...
Well, you can't argue
with that. Can you? No, I'm not going to take her on. Do you want to?
No, I'm not arguing. No.
George, is there an answer to Dennis's point there?
Well, we've always disagreed on this. I think it's a nice idea and a good idea that it's played in America. They've got the best facilities in the world. It'll be a massive crowds at all the games, as Casey's already said. So, I mean, you can't really knock it when you look at the ticket sales they've had. So somebody's interested. And there's one thing the Americans do better than anybody, and that's put on a show and prepare for something like this. I think it's going to be terrific. But at the same time, I think at the end of it, I don't see anything coming from it. I think it's something like 18 million kids playing in America in the youth organisation. But the problem is when they get to those important years, apart from the one or two exceptions, it's not really... you're fighting American football, which is massive, baseball, which is massive, basketball, which is massive. It's like trying to bring those sort of sports here and compete with soccer. You can't do it.
What's that old mate of yours, Rodney Marsh, make of it all? Because you're in contact with him a lot, aren't you? He lives and works in the States.
Yeah, Rodney's coming back in a few weeks. We're putting our road show on the road again, or our drink show, or whatever we call it. Yeah, he's bitterly disappointed. We both are, because he and I had worked out a deal to go over and work in America before, during, and after. With an American bank, which was going to earn us a few quid. And of course, with none of the British teams in it, we're a bit...
You're redundant?
We're redundant, yeah, for a couple of... And he's also disappointed as well because he was in the original planning for it, or was quite heavily involved, and was expecting Tampa Bay to get some of the games, but I think is it Orlando instead of Tampa Bay? So Rodney's very, very bitterly disappointed in a lot of areas.
Mick, have you got any strong feelings on this one?
Well, there are a lot of... people living in America. I mean, as my young lady friend here just pointed out, there are more Irish living in America than there are living in Ireland. And there's one or two of the other ethnic groups living there. They can watch their teams while they're there. There's no problem with that. There'll be plenty of Italians going there. You know, the Mexicans, but there'll be plenty of people to watch it. It's just that they're not watching it in their own country. But it can only be one home country anyway. You know, if it's somewhere else, we have to travel to go and see it. Why not America? And as George said, they certainly put a show on. As to whether it takes off afterwards, who can say? We can only speculate on that.
I think as well, when you think that they've held it in Mexico, I mean, there's a bit of a difference between going to Mexico and watching it in America.
Yes, yes.
Facility-wise.
Final word to Casey then. Do you think there will be football after the World Cup in the States?
There'll be football after. Well, there's football. It's there now. I mean, I think I could make a fairly comfortable living playing soccer in the U.S. right now. It's there. I mean, you're talking about, you're rivaling, you know, football, as George said. I mean, football, each team, television contracts a year, before the season even starts, are given $30 million from TV. Each team, you got 26 teams. I mean, that's some serious revenue going into those teams. I mean, so it's tough to battle that. You got a TV contract. Put our game on TV. Well, you're just giving these guys $30 million. Obviously, there's going to be a fight there somewhere. And unfortunately, until the numbers increase, then soccer gets the second hand.
I think the biggest problem is they're not going to get the American public, I don't think, coming to the games. Certainly during the World Cup, but afterwards you won't get the American public because, well, for different reasons. But when I played over there, when the league first formed, the professional league, I was there with players like Rodney Marsh, Alan Hudson was there, Beckenbauer, Cruyff, Pelé, Eusebio, Gordon Banks, Gerd Muller. So the American public, the American people themselves, were seeing the best players in the world from day one. And then they phased them out one by one. And then they were being asked to watch American kids most of the time playing after having watched the best in the world. So the crowds disintegrated and the league collapsed. So that's
you mentioned all those great players, but Dennis Law wasn't there, was he? Why was that?
Too far. Like my home
didn't know where it was.
But he's found Millwall. OK, that's where we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be amongst the audience here. Stay with us. We were here last night for that third-round FA Cup tie and took the opportunity to stay on. We're in the company of Millwall tonight. Gentleman here's got a question for us.
Yes, my question's about the excessive use of arms in football. Now, I wrote this question before last night's game, but, I mean, it's relevant to it. In particular, the Fox and Benali situation the other week, Southampton and Norwich. Now, I mean, Benali, all right, he put his arm back to ward off Fox, but he wouldn't have done that if Fox hadn't have been pulling him back in the first place. Now, Benali's got sent off, Fox has got nothing. Southampton even got the free kick. Now, last night, we get someone like Mitchell, because he's disgusted with the referee's decision and throws the ball down, he gets a booking. Now, I think that there's got to be some levelling out with these bookings and for the pulling back. I mean, it's happening more and more in the game. You know, the players, the first thing they think about is grab hold of him first. When I used to play, it was chase back first and tackle. But now, they're not good enough to do it because the first thing they do is
push or pull.
Yeah.
OK. Mick, would you like to take this one? Is there an overuse of the arm, the elbow these days in football?
Well,
it's a topic, isn't it?
It's just getting highlighted, isn't it?
Yes.
More and more. Every time there's an incident, it becomes highlighted and it's on television, it's in the press.
Is that all that's happened? It's been highlighted.
The thing is, if somebody elbows somebody and it's intentional, he should be sent off. There's no question about that. That's violent conduct. Violent conduct, sorry about that. Sounded like a southerner there for a minute. Violent conduct. But the pulling of somebody back, I know that's a foul, but it's not a sending off offence. No. And throwing the ball down, really. I mean, we have got away from it. Things like that, it's dissent, really, throwing the ball down and petulance, really. And we do get booked for that, and players get fined for those sort of things. I do think that some bad tackles get overlooked, and some use of the arm gets overlooked.
But is there...
And it's talking back to referees and the showing of, you know, petulance that you get booked for. But if you do, violent conduct should be punishable by sending off.
Has there just been a rash of it, or has it always been the case that the elbow, the arm has been used too much in football?
Well, I mean, people keep talking about when I used to play. I mean, I played 13, 14 years ago as well. And believe me, it was a hard game then as well, and of course these fellas played before that. I'm not sure that there's any more... Sorry about that.
Too long.
So, I'm not sure it's any worse now than it was then.
Is it?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, it was always been a hard game, isn't it? I mean, Bestie got a lot of stick, but the defenders seemed to be much more fairer in the old days. It was like give and take, and it was a good tackle or whatever. But I would honestly think in the last sort of maybe 5 years, the elbow has definitely come into the game, which we never had before. When I say we never had, maybe occasional one. But this last 5 years, it has really come into the game, and I honestly feel that is one foul that they should be immediately sent off.
Do you agree,
No
George?
danger at all.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
and one of the
Yes.
reasons I think that it's crept in so much over these last few years is the way a lot of teams play.
Yeah.
With the long ball, you're giving people more opportunity, and particularly forwards.
Is it possible for people who have played the game and do to be able to differentiate between an accident and the use of an elbow on purpose?
Yes.
Oh,
It is?
Yes.
Well, why is
Oh,
there so
yes.
much discussion about it then?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the players, we would definitely know.
Yeah.
I mean, if
No
Mick
doubt.
hit me with an elbow, I would know we'd be definitely done. And referees should know as well.
Look, if somebody had caught you with an elbow, without
we
so
know-
many cameras about, what would have happened?
See, I'd have chinned them. I might have not done that, mate.
I have to say, you would know. But it would have been after a while.
Yes, yes, I would know. I'd have probably gone back later on.
And I tell you what he did as well, I tell you.
Who did?
You did.
I had to protect myself.
Oh, yeah.
He just likes spending
Don't
Christmas
forget, I was
and New
only
Year at home.
a frail boy as
From
well.
the big rough defenders, Dennis had to
Correct.
protect
Look at the size of me compared to him.
But that used to happen. You used to exact your own form of punishment on the pitch, did you?
Oh, yes, and I think it was give and take as well. I mean, and after the game, shake the hand, everything had been forgotten. But whilst we were on the pitch, it was a man's game.
Right.
But in a fair way, you get the occasional ones who were dirty players, don't you? I mean,
There are a few dying swans, though, Richard, just now.
Are they?
well, that is
On the
that
pitch,
is also.
you know, people are sort of maybe throwing their arm out to try and get away from somebody pulling the shirt,
Yeah.
and it's a near miss, and
Oh well, that is disgraceful as
There are
well.
a few dying swans going down on the pitch. I have
They
to
should be
say.
sent off as well if they feign injury, because they are trying to get another professional sent off. I mean, that has come into the game as well.
In
You're
Italy,
doing well
of
here
course, you'll
tonight.
get booked for that, won't you, play acting?
Beg your pardon?
I'm glad you're here. Go on.
I'd just like to make a point. I played football, and I'm a London Class 3 referee. I referee senior games and junior football. And I come to watch Millwall, obviously, and referee games on Sunday. And when I look at the decisions a professional Class 1 referees give, and I think offside decisions and some of the fouls, and I look at them, and you analyse the way the referee's playing, and you find it very hard to spot the way the decisions are going. Last night, not going on to last night, but you felt that the game was actually slipping away. The officials were just about siding on the opposition.
You're a Millwall fan?
Yeah.
No, I mean... No, I accept the point. I know what you're saying. Casey, what do you think of the standard of refereeing in this country?
That's better than in
No, that's
America.
unfair.
There's no doubt about that. I mean,
I shouldn't have done that to you, should I?
well, but in the U.S., you know, you're going from people who at least they never grew up watching the game. So there's a lot worse refereeing in the U.S. It's just, I mean, it's a very difficult position, and everyone in every sport always hates the ref.
Yes.
No one ever wants to be a ref. I don't know how they even find them to do the games to begin with. You know, I mean, there's no way you would get me to ref a game. I refed like a U12 girls game one time, and I decided, no way in hell am I ever going to do this again. And I just don't understand. I mean, it's very difficult because you have one guy making all these decisions. He's supposed to be helped by the linesman, but that doesn't work a lot of the time.
Casey, I think we all realise that it is a very difficult job to do, refereeing, isn't it? But I feel that players in particular, and the fans, they want a consistent referee within the same game, within the same 90 minutes. And we see decisions made in football when you think, well, if he's booked him for that foul, why didn't he book him for that? And that's the thing that annoys players, managers, I'm sure, and fans when the referee is inconsistent in the same game.
Right or wrong, you want the same level of consistency.
I know he's got a hard job. I mean,
it's also, Richard, as well, you know, when you look at them, some of the guidelines they're given by their bosses are absolutely amazing. I mean, I don't know, when the 5-step rule came in, that didn't exist, did it? Keepers take 20 steps
Certainly doesn't
from
now.
day one.
No.
And I've never seen a goalkeeper pulled up for...
Do you worry
5
about
steps.
that, Casey? That you might get pulled up for...
I worried about it more at home, because you had these refs who never played the game and didn't understand the intricacies of it. and they'd be looking by the book. Oh, they'd be counting you, you know, 1, 2, 3,
But you don't
4.
worry about it now? It's not something at the forefront of your mind?
When I've been in Europe, no, it doesn't bother me at all.
That's interesting, interesting. OK, another question here.
Yeah, why is it so many local authorities are the biggest obstacle to any football club getting its ground improved or redeveloped? I mean, Millwall are a notable example of the opposite, where it has worked the right way, but Wimbledon, Portsmouth, countless clubs are trying to improve the facilities for their supporters, and the biggest obstacle are local council. The people who got most to gain from having a successful football club as part of their community.
Oh, it's a good question, and if you thought you might struggle with that one, Dennis, you can relax, because the chairman, Reg Burr of Millwall Football Club, is with us tonight. Maybe he's the right person to answer that question. Evening.
Good evening. I think that the fault is more on the sides of the football clubs than of the local authority. Constantly, when I go away from home, I'm told, oh, you're lucky you've got a good local authority. But it isn't lucky. We worked very hard for 8 years to build a relationship with the local authority, and it's a relationship of a partnership. We give to them what we can give, and they give to us what they can give, and it works. But most of the football clubs I've seen, all they want to do is to go along to local authority with a begging bowl and make outrageous demands that are not capable of being fulfilled, you know. They want to have their new ground developed, and they want 4 hotels, 3 cinemas, and a supermarket, and it just doesn't work. And then when they don't get it, they go away and they're disgruntled. And the next time they come back to the local authorities because they need to borrow some money.
I must say, it's not the answer I expected. You're saying then that the blame more often than not lies with the football club as opposed to the local authority?
Yeah, I think what I'm really trying to say is that if you get out for nought in this world, and if you want to get something from your local authority, you've got to give something. They've got to give a service to their community, and the only way they can give something back to a football club is if they feel satisfied that they're getting value in return. And I believe at Millwall, we give Lewisham tremendous value.
And what was the reaction when you went to Lewisham and said, we're fed up with that place down there, we want a new one that looks like this, 800 yards up the road? And
Well, you know, we started with the local authority 8 years ago, and that time the idea of a new ground was just a twinkle in our eye. It is true that we were lucky in the sense that we were making preparations for a move, but very desultory ones. You know, it would be, if we had a good day at the Den and the atmosphere was tremendous, you'd say, you can't leave here, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't leave this atmosphere. If we had a bad day and it was grotty and we had trouble and struggles, we think, oh, yes, you know, what a good idea. But what crystallised it was Hillsborough. Lord Justice Taylor came down to the Den, and at the end of his visit, I was totally convinced that there was not going to be any ID cards. And football, in its usual unique wisdom, shot itself in the foot. Spent all its time fighting the ID card, which was never a runner. But Lord Justice Taylor was equally emphatic that the future was all-seater stadium. And when I said to him, look, I'll accept the fact that giant cops are a thing of the past, but control paddocks where you can numerically control the number of people, that's got to be fair. I'm old enough to believe in freedom of choice, and I don't see why people should be deprived of choice. If you want to stand, as long as you stand safely, why not? But
they were having none of it, were they?
They weren't. And, you know...
this is the end result.
The end result is that we had to face up to a clear choice. If we stayed at the old Den, we'd have ended up in the Vauxhall Conference. Over a course of time, because we had 3,000 seats, and you can't run a decent football club on that.
And in a place like this, you deserve to be in the Premiership. Thank you very much. And that's where we'll take another break back here at the New Den in a moment or so. Stay with us. Show. We're at the New Den, where, incidentally, of course, they've got that WBO heavyweight showdown on March the 19th. Herbie Hyde and Michael Bent 2 after yesterday's scrap in London. We're in the company tonight of Dennis Law and Mick McCarthy. We also have with us Casey Keller and George Best, and a lady questioner over here, I think, gentlemen.
In your opinion, do you think that women's football will ever get the coverage that the men's football get, seeing as it's such a fast-growing sport?
Yeah.
Who's going to have the courage to say no? Dennis.
What was the question? Something about women's football or something. What was it?
Will
Get
women's
the coverage.
football...
You shouldn't be asking us. Ask the TV guys.
Oh, thank you very much. Where's the next question, then?
What a coward.
Should women's football have more coverage? Do we
well, you're the one to answer that.
Oh, it's not just me, is it?
I know it's not to you, but you're the one.
Having a row with me about it. Would you like to see more women's football?
I certainly would.
You would? Right, OK. Do you think it'll ever get the courage it should, Mick? The courage.
The courage? I doubt it.
Do you think it'll...
I used to play football.
Hold on, let's just let it out
I
here.
played football in 1948, and the FA was right against us playing. But now, the girls got lovely facilities for what they do and lovely grounds to play on. But we never had it when I played.
And you'd like...
See?
OK, well, it's a point well made.
It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday from all of us.
So,
right.
No, seriously, it just shows you what's happened in the last 44 years.
It does.
44,
I'm going down the back of the room just for a moment.
No, 46 years. Yeah, just got a little
we didn't actually get an answer on that, did we? Maybe it'll
Scottish,
be one of those that runs. Now, gentleman down here had a question for me.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the panel if they feel that the loan system of players is being abused at the moment.
In what respect?
Well, in respect that come towards the end of the season, there's players that are either struggling at the bottom or hoping to get promotion can loan a player of good quality to either get them up or keep them up, but have no intentions whatsoever of signing him.
Well, that's a fair point. Mick, what do you think? Is the loan system in this country being abused?
Well, I had a discussion at the league managers meeting at the end of last season where they're trying to put a window in the season where they can sign players, and only in that month or that fortnight, whatever it is. That's fine for the big clubs that can shell out a wad and buy somebody. But for the smaller clubs that can't do that, now they're only talking about the Premier League. Now that was one thing. Now they're talking about loaning players. Some clubs cannot afford to buy players at all. Period. They have to loan them. Now, in my opinion, it makes it a better league. If the lower teams are struggling, they can loan a couple of players at the end of the season. At least they can compete. They can compete either to stay up or to go up. I have no objection against it. I use the loan system, so I have got no objection against it at all.
Just extend that. Should there be a transfer ban, as Mick was saying, with only a window of, say, a month in the summer and 2 weeks around Christmas time, George? What do you think? Is that something that we should be thinking about?
Sorry, George.
Sorry, Mick, did you want to point on that?
Well,
I mean, come back if you like.
I just think that if there was a ban in the season, now Billy Bonds at West Ham, I'm going to go back to him. He has done a great bit of management this year to sell Julian Dix for whatever he sold and get 3 players in, turn the club around, get them on the right track, get them going up the league. He wouldn't have been able to do that if the window wasn't there at that time. Now, they might be struggling at the bottom of the league. Now, most of them in here would be delighted to see West Ham struggling at the bottom of the league. But, you know, notwithstanding that, that was a great bit of management. And managers would have that taken away from them, the ability to manage, to go out and scour the place and find players, sign loan players. It's a risk-taking loan players, because most players turn up on loan, they're not that bothered anyway. You know, they come out of somebody's reserve side, they come and play for you, and they don't look upon it as a chance to get back playing. Some of them look upon it as, well, I'll go down there on loan, I'll play in the first team, I'll go back, I'm still getting my dough. But at least you can manage, you can have a go.
I think as well, if you've got a choice of playing first-team football, if you love playing and not just doing it for the money, you'd much rather play in the first team, albeit at a lower club, than sit around in the reserves week in, week out. But a gentleman used the word abuse. I think it's a little bit strong, because if the law allows you to do it, and there are the rules, and as Mick said, if you can use your brain and wheel and deal in the right way and get results from it, that's terrific management, I think.
Yeah, but the loan players originally, Best, it was because it was with goalkeepers, wasn't it? I mean, if your sort of first-team goalkeeper was injured, or your goalkeeper, then, you know, you might be able to loan a keeper from another side. I think that was quite acceptable. But as the years went on, it has been abused. And it's been abused by teams going for promotion. and against relegation. If they, you know, if they've got a few bob, they could afford to pay a player, you know, a fair amount of money to come and play for them, and gives the other clubs in the lower part or the middle, they don't give them any chance at all. I think it's been abused completely.
Okay.
Doesn't be allowed.
All right. Okay, let's go on to the left wing here this time. Who's got a question for me over here? Down the back. Gentleman down here. It's up and down tonight. And me with a back injury as well. Right, here we go.
I'd like to make a point which is an extension of the discussion we had earlier about the elbows, and ask a question about that to the panel. Is that we had an incident after the Charlton game earlier this season where Charlton, an aggrieved Charlton chairman, sent a videotape of the Pat Van Den Hare incident to the FA. Now, what I don't want to see, and I'm sure a lot of people don't want to see, is every time a chairman's aggrieved about his club's result and there's been a dodgy challenge during the game, they've got the ability to send a tape to the FA, which then hangs over a player for the next 4 weeks while they decide what to do about it. Surely something else can be done about that sort of incident.
Well, if you take the point on, I suppose what you're saying is television evidence, and there's been some discussion about it down the years. Often players have been disciplined as a result, but it's rare that players have been able to go with a video to say, well, look, that didn't happen, I'm innocent. Do you agree, Mick?
Well, that is the case. You've not been able to use it to get yourself off anything. I don't agree with people sending tapes from matches to try and get a player from the opposition into trouble. I'm not going to go into that one further. That's a dangerous subject, I think. But I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. I mean, we had a discussion, and we had a discussion with the chairman and at the club, and we're saying that if a team had got a grouse with somebody, actually, they could see it on a video. Maybe they don't even have to be playing that side. They could just see it. And as a member of the public, they can actually send it to the FA and say, well, I'm complaining about that. I am actually making a formal complaint that he actually elbowed him. I don't agree with that. I don't think that should be happening.
Dangerous grounds. Anybody with anything to contribute? OK, one question over here.
Like Mark Hughes, against Sheffield United on Sunday, he just got a normal yellow card for the incident he done against Sheffield United defender, which should have been a normal red card. He got sent off with 2 yellow cards, which is only a 1-match ban. And I thought we should have got a normal red, which is a 3-match ban. OK, well, you can extend that, actually, as well. It's an interesting talking point, that, which is something we touched upon earlier in the programme. Do the big clubs get softer treatment than the smaller clubs? Had that been, as Dave Bassett, I think, was saying, a Sheffield United player committing the same offence, would it have been a red card rather than a second yellow and a 3-match ban as a result? George?
Well, it's a big subject, isn't it? I think it could get totally out of hand, can't it? Because what'll happen if it carries on like this, every time there's any sort of incident, the FA are going to be sitting watching videos all day long and of incidents, and what you're basically saying, because I think over a period of a season, things level out. I believe that at the end of the season. You get things that go for you and you get things that go against you. And you're getting into a dangerous area, because what you're basically saying, if you're able to send videos every time there's a bad incident, you're sort of saying that the referees are useless. You know, so you have to...
Steady.
Some of them are, but they're not all. So what you're undermining them, really. And I think because, as I said, because I think it levels out at the end of the season, you should say that the decision's been made and it can't be changed. That's the way.
Right. But, OK, forget the video evidence. Is it the case that if you play for one of the bigger clubs, Dennis, which you did, you'll expect to get decisions from officials, whereas maybe if you're turning out for the smaller clubs, as George did at Fulham, that you won't get those decisions necessarily? Do the bigger clubs get away with more?
Completely false. I know you'd be biased. No, I think it's best he said, rightly so. It evens itself out. 50.
OK, Mick McCarthy, you've played at Manchester City, you've played at Celtic, you've played down here
Celtic,
at
I played.
No, not you, Mick. Yeah. Concentrate.
I don't think...
next to you. Does it happen?
I don't think intentionally it happens. I don't think referees go out and... we give them a lot of stick. I gave the guy stick last night. Maybe not in the press. I didn't agree with the decision. I tell you, we can't do without them. However you want to deal with it to make them better, we cannot do without them. They've got the hardest job. They probably referee from the worst spot in the world as well, on the pitch. There's lots of things they can't see. And I have to say, players are we all try and bend the rules a little bit to try and get away, to get an advantage. And the referees they've got to be clued up to that. Most of them haven't played professional football. Now, I don't think, in answer to your question, that they go out and intentionally side with the big clubs. It appears that way when, like last night, a decision goes against us, we all cry, small club, you know, Arsenal, lucky Arsenal. Whatever it is, he didn't intentionally do that last night. No way. So, no, I don't
Well, that's
think
what Neil Midgley, of course, always says. And I'm glad you said that, because no referee turns out to spoil anybody's entertainment. They enjoy the job they do anyway and like to see a good match too.
Richard, unfortunately, I'm a Sheffield United supporter, so I've blown my cover in here, so whether I'll get out or not, I don't know. But I would definitely say to the panel that I watch Sheffield United every week, and when Manchester United, Arsenal, any big club comes, if there's a 50-50 challenge, the referee looks at Mitch Ward on one side and Eric Cantona on the other, and it's Man United. It's every time. And I guarantee that I was at both games, and I will say that last night, if that had been in the other area, that would definitely been a foul.
And that's because I'm a coward is where I think we're going to take another break, and we'll be back with more shortly. Can't let the evening pass without mentioning Ian Branford, who relinquished his position at Southampton today. Words of support for one of your colleagues, Mick, perhaps?
Well, I just said, seeing as the other three wouldn't take the question, it has to be said, they've all done a Pontius Pilate and washed their hands of it. Yeah, I feel sorry for the guy. Not in whatever he's done there, whatever people think of him, he stood a level of abuse that I don't think I could tolerate, or anybody else in this audience could tolerate. Maybe Mr. Burke, because he's had a fair bit as well from time to time. But
not just him, his wife and his family and friends.
His family. I mean, his whole life has been ruined, and all he's been trying to do, I have to say that, is his best for Southampton. Might not be good enough at the time, but he has tried his best, and he's been physically abused, I think, at times, certainly verbally abused every time he turns out, and he carried on longer than I ever thought he would, to be quite honest.
Shouldn't happen, should it? Well said. Thanks. Words of support. OK, questioner here.
If you think he was getting abused, do you not think he should have relinquished his position earlier? Because the passion that the fans have got, and then it's not going their way, you want them to give up. If they're not doing their best job, like with Rioch, he should have given up a lot earlier than he did. But he stayed on, and he dragged them down. He dragged Millwall down.
Well, I have to say to that is that just now we've just had a good game against Arsenal, and we're doing quite well. But I guarantee you, I'm doing my best for the club now. I guarantee you, if we went on a 10-game run, I would still be doing my best for this club. I would be suffering abuse, and I would be getting stick, and I'd be getting jostled, and they would be asking me to resign. Now, do I resign? Do I say, right, I'm giving it up? Or am I going to try again for another 10 games and turn the corner? Because I have a bit of character, as Bramford must have, and I want to try and turn the corner. Sorry. Or do I chuck it all in because I'm getting a bit of abuse? Do I say, right, they're right, I'm wrong, I've been doing a decent job for 2 years, all of a sudden I'm a bad manager, I'm going to walk away from it? I think not. I think you try and turn it round. Maybe he's decided he can't, he's walked away from it.
Fair enough. OK. Actually, it wouldn't be 10 games, because I asked the chairman earlier, and he said he wouldn't let it go that long, Mick, so... you can relax on that front.
Cheers.
OK, where's my other questioners? Did I questioner over here. That's who I was looking for. Here we go.
Going back to the referees, all the problems that we seem to be having, you know, inconsistencies and what have you, and we do get a few bad ones down here from time to time. What does the panel feel about professional referees that are involved in the game full time?
Casey Keller had to say about that as far as ex-professionals are concerned. He doesn't want to referee a football match again, do you, Casey? But
I don't, but it's got to be looked at, definitely looked at, and you got to see. I think some of the other countries are looking into that. I mean, you have to look at their model and see if it works well for them, then maybe it should be, you know, adopted. It's tough to have professional players and amateur referees, you know, because they should be almost training as much as we are. It's very important. Obviously, this club's going to lose a lot of money on a dubious decision, and maybe, you know, right or wrong, if a referee trains as hard as we do, maybe those decisions aren't made.
But there's no I mean, it's a subject that comes up week in and week out, so we won't dwell on it. There's no guarantee that a fellow that's training 5 days a week won't make the same decisions as we're seeing now on a Saturday.
I mean, players make mistakes also, and they train day in and day out, so it happens.
It should maybe
All right.
easier for professionals going to the game.
What was that, Dennis?
I'd say it may be the association make it easier for professional players to go into the game, but I mean, I don't know too much about what standard the referees have got to do, but it's something like 13 years from beginning to, you know, be able to referee a first-class game. I mean, that is unbelievable, isn't it? To ask an ex-professional to start a career, he's got to go for 13 years before he can referee a Premier game.
Still be bad.
Hey, but at least he knows what it's all about. And if that was reduced, then you might see more ex-professional players going to the game, and they understand the game more than a referee will ever understand the game.
All right, OK, we'll leave that alone now, because, as I say, it's one that comes up week in and week out. If I can just change the subject, are we edging towards the appointment of an England manager, in your opinion, George? And if we are, Terry Venables' name is being mentioned. Is that the right man?
Well, we discussed this, didn't we, a short while ago, and Terry Venables, I think, has got all the credentials, yeah. He's respected by the players, and when you think that not so long ago with all the fuss that was going on at Tottenham, the fact that he's emerged as favoured is amazing. When you looked at what the media were doing to the Tottenham people, not only Terry but Alan Sugar, everyone involved in it. It's amazing that it looks like he's a front runner. Big Ron Atkinson, I'm a big fan of, but it looks. I read a piece today by Terry saying that he hasn't been offered a job. He's been interviewed, but I think he would be a lot of the general public's choice. Yeah.
Well, we've done it once or twice when we've been on our travels. We've asked what audiences think about the candidates. What about Terry Venables? Are we happy with the suggestion that it might be Terry to manage England? Let's have a look. A show of hands. Who would like to see Terry Venables manage England?
Yeah, because Teddy would get picked.
Because Teddy would get picked. Teddy Sheringham, the gentleman said.
If not him, how about Ian Brainford? He's out of work.
I have to say, that's happened wherever we've been. It's been almost unanimous, Terry Venables to manage England. Dennis, what's your thoughts on
I do, yes. Well, we were asked a question a few weeks ago, and at the time we said, well, I thought Big Ron Atkinson, because it looked as though Terry was not going to be involved at that particular time. You say, who's going to be? Said, well, Big Ron Atkinson, mainly he's good with the media, his teams have always tried to play football. You couldn't really think of anybody else. But if you come back to, say, Terry Venables, yes, I would say that Terry Venables is the ideal man for the job. He's got the experience of playing at the level, right from youth level, right through international level, management side, on the continent, very successful with Barcelona, Spurs. I mean, he has gone through the whole lot, coach and everything. So if you're going to name somebody, then Terry Venables is as good as anybody, yes.
You fancy managing a national side, Mick? Your name's
Not
been
England.
tossed about to... No, obviously not
Well,
England. Your name has been
job,
tossed
yeah.
about to succeed Big Jack. Would you fancy it?
Managing a national side. I actually like the day-to-day running and involvement with players, I have to say that. But we all try and do our best, don't we? We all want to be at the top in what a profession we are. So if one was offered, then I'd have to consider it, of course.
Casey, it's a bit too soon for you, but do you fancy it from what you've seen, managing?
It's tough. It's very, very tough. I mean, I think it's even tough than a club side, because like Mick said, you don't have that day-to-day contact where you can kind of mold players into what you want. You get them for 3-4 days and try to do something with that. I think it really comes down to decision making. Is that guy gonna do it for me if I put him on the field? Not that I can help him do that. It's extremely difficult. I don't fancy, especially in England. I mean, the press, it was extremely harsh on Mr. Taylor, and
don't get into that.
Once again, as we were saying, with managers getting a lot of pressure and a lot of abuse, and I wouldn't want that on myself or my family.
The boss just said shut up. The boss just said shut up.
Say that if you've got the international manager's job, then you really shouldn't be having to mould them and say, well, you know, you should be doing this, should be doing that. You still have to do it in your system. Get a system that you want to play, get the best players to play that system, send them out and play it. And they should be, if they're international players, they should be good enough to play in that system.
I think Mr. Burr would like to add something.
Yeah, fortunately, I'm not on the subcommittee of the FA that has to choose the England manager. But it seems to me that there's only one outstanding candidate. There's only one man who has managed a national side successfully, and that's Jackie Charlton. I don't believe that the qualifications for an England manager are the same as the qualifications for a club manager. I think they're quite different.
The problem is, of course, he's got a job right now, hasn't he, and a big job to do.
And I hope he keeps it for a long time.
But actually, it's an interesting point, that, Dennis, isn't it, that you necessarily don't need to have managed a club side to become an international manager.
Correct. Beckenbauer, he didn't manage a club side and became manager of West Germany, and, of course, very successful as well. No. I think it is important, not always, but I always feel it is very important that the guy who is manager has played at the highest level. He has played international.
I was just going to say that, because that was one of the biggest criticisms of Graham Taylor, wasn't it? That he hadn't played.
It is a big plus if he has played for England or Scotland or the Republic of Ireland or Wales or whatever, Germany. He has to have played there and understand the mentality of international players and how to get the best out of them. I think that is a big plus. And if he hasn't done that, then I think he's on a loser right from the beginning.
And yet you said a moment or so ago that you were a big fan of Ron Atkinson's, and he hasn't played football at the very highest level, has he?
Yeah, but he has got he has something extra in that his teams play football, and they try to play football, and that is most important. And if Ron Atkinson had in charge of the England international teams, I am sure that he would have moulded a team to qualify for America because of the way he plays football. Guaranteed on that.
I'm listening to everything you're saying.
Am I the downright today?
You just look very aggressive there. I thought you were coming out at me.
Well, I just felt the question was aggressive towards me.
He's been lively tonight, hasn't he?
You've been at me all night, you. He's in Millwall for the first time as well, and you're having a go at me. No, not the Millwall people, him.
I'd like to know why the FA don't get off their backside now and just give it to Terry Venables. We need some passion in the English game, and apart from watching Millwall on telly and Millwall winning, we need England, because our game has just gone down the drain.
It's a no-win, though, isn't it? Because if they'd made an appointment immediately, we'd all be saying, well, why didn't they take their time? Do it properly. Have a look around. Interview some candidates.
With the international sides like the Germany and Italy, a lot of the managers stay really for a specific task, like the World Cup, and they've also got the coach coming along behind. So they've got the manager up front, and they've already appointed his successor. I'm just wondering whether or not we should proceed along those lines by
having the top man and someone to work with him, somebody underneath him. OK, no, that's fair enough. We're nearly out of time. Sorry, Dennis, go on.
Sorry, I'm just going to say, it would be, you know, if you are the England manager or the Scotland manager and everything, if you just had the sole job of looking after the first team, then it would be far easier. But the England manager or whatever, he's got so much to do behind the scenes that his energies are wasted completely. If he was told just to look after the first team and that's his job only, then I think he'd be much more successful.
Right.
He's got too much to do.
Where are Millwall going in 10 seconds, Mick?
Put me right on the spot, haven't they?
Daft question, wasn't it, really? Well, we wish you all the best, of course, with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
We've had a nice night this evening. Dennis Law and Mick McCarthy, thank you both very much for joining us. Casey Keller and George Best, thank you very much for joining us. And as far as Millwall's concerned, as I said, we wish you the best and thank you very much for having us last night and tonight. See you soon. Thank you. And next season.
The sporting event.